Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to another Going Old School Retro Discussions. Please do me a favor, and as always, we always ask you to share out the links and let people know what's going on because YouTube and the famous algorithm likes to bury us in the muck and the mud. So I'm not really sure who may or may not join us today because that is one thing about retro discussions. You never know who is going to pop up and what topics they're actually going to be able to bring to the table with them. I like to leave this as an open discussion, and I like other people to be able to interject themselves and to put their own thoughts and talk about the franchises they love so much from the past instead of me just coming up with topics all by myself week after week. Because if I'm the only one discussing the articles that I like by myself, it's kind of one-sided and it's not always fun because you might not get people that are going to be able to show up for the panels because they might not even understand or know about the topics that you want to discuss. So I seen that we already had RR come through the chat early on and is still here. RR, what is going up, buddy? It ain't easy being a guinea pig, especially a collective that's out to assimilate the world. Yes, it is tough. It's not easy on us. Our little paws can only take us so far, and it is a big climb to be able to conquer the entire world. The Hill of 29, what's going on, buddy? Welcome. So one of the things I actually wanted to talk about today is I wanted to take it a little bit more old school than I normally do because, yes, we talk about a whole bunch of different franchises on this show, and I've talked about a whole lot of these older ones on a lot of my videos. One of these in particular was another one from the 70s, because a lot of the ones we always wind up talking about are from 80s. I mean, more people know the ones from the 80s than from the 70s, but some of us do remember them. So one of the ones I'm going to show right now is I'm going to actually play a short clip for one of the franchises that I grew up with when I was younger.
We are going to be talking about those robotic marvels, those giant heroes of ages past, the Shogun Warriors. Now originally created by Poppy of Japan, who was a subsidiary of Bandai, the figures primarily consisted of the then popular giant robotic anime shows, and they were manufactured in a number of sizes, the most common the 24-inch plastic versions and the 3.5-inch die-cast metal versions. There was also a 5-inch version, which I had a few of. Now, one of the most sought-after features that were on these toys were spring-loaded launcher weapons, such as missiles, star shurikens, axes, and hands.
The Shogun Warriors, Guy King with rocket boosters, Great Mazinga with rocket launcher.
And because American toy companies such as Mattel wanted to get into the action, a deal was struck and the toys were licensed to Mattel to bring them to the U.S. shores. Now, when they did this, one of the first toys that they brought over wasn't the traditional Shogun Warrior type of robotic beings. It was actually Godzilla.
Launch his claw. Imagine his breath is a blast of fire. The Shogun Warriors, Great Mazinga, Guy King, and Godzilla, each sold separately. Accessories not for use with smaller Shogun Warriors from Mattel.
So this is one of those franchises that I loved when I was growing up as a kid. And you know what? Not only did I have the Godzilla figure, which he was slightly taller than the other Shogun Warriors, as you've seen in that old-timey commercial. I think he wound up topping in at just over 1.5 feet as opposed to like the 2.5 feet that all the other Shogun Warriors were. I still have him. He was sitting over my father's house. Unfortunately, there are a few problems because of the way my father packed everything up in the attic. He got a little bit crushed. His hand the launching hand, I should say, got broken off, and the whole spring assembly that was inside the arm appears to be missing, and I don't recall finding it and all the stuff over there. Not to say it isn't there, but I just didn't locate it at the time. But I do still have that, and I did find some of the 5-inch die-cast ones that I had. They were die-cast and they were plastic. The things were hardcore. He had tons of shit sitting on top of him, and none of them got broke, surprisingly. And most of the weapons I was able to find, too, and almost all of them were intact. So I seen, we also had my buddy Chris Fisk over there who's doing Infinitales. If you guys haven't checked that one out on Indiegogo, be sure to check that out. I don't know if anybody in the chat has a link for Infinitales and could drop it in the chat for me. If you can, thank you very much. If not, well, I'm going to have to wind up opening up YouTube and drop that link for him and maybe even just mod him so he could drop it whenever he wants. Thank you for coming, Chris. I love me some 1970s nostalgia. Yeah, and there was a lot of good toys that were made in the 1970s that carried over into the 1980s. And if they didn't carry over into the 1980s, they inspired a lot of the toys that wound up coming out in the 1980s. Our Shogun Warriors were cool. They were absolutely neat. I loved the holy hell out of that series. Soul Assassin, what's going on, buddy? Dude, I want that Godzilla. I'm trying to figure out how I could fix the Godzilla that I have. Wookiee Supremacy, what up, Wookiee? No Barbie again. Nope, no Barbie this time. Or else it says I had Godzilla. Chris Fisk says there was a store in Waltham, Maine called Mr. Big's Toyland that sold these die-cast metal marvels, and the commercials used to air on WLVI TV 56 during cartoons. This brings me back. Yeah. And you know what? A lot of those commercials, even though they were simple, there's something about them that seems a little bit more appealing than some of the really ridiculous commercials they have for toy lines, even if you see a commercial for toy lines anymore. Because the last few times that I was watching regular TV, which was some time ago because I got rid of most of the regular TV type stations and channels and programming through cable, I got rid of all that shit a while ago because I couldn't take it anymore. But I don't really recall seeing the toy commercials that we used to see when we were kids. Because you would get those crazy G.I. Joe commercials with the song playing, the Transformers with the robots in disguise, even the GoBots, all of them had incredible commercials to help promote those toy lines. And of course, that would almost always was tied in with a cartoon, a comic book, and then your traditional ads and everything that you had in papers. Plus, at the time, in the 80s, it was still radio was a big thing to be able to advertise on. So, Keely Chow, what is going on, Keely? Yeah, man. If there was any one figure, and this could be anybody, RR, Chris, is there any one figure from the Shogun Warriors that you wish you could have got? One that I wish I could have got is I wish I could have got the 2.5 foot tall Dragoon. I had the 5-inch version of them, and I had like a Great Mazinga in the little 3.75 version. But I always wanted to get that 24-inch tall Dragoon figure. There was something about that one with the flying axes and everything. It was like, that was badass. I wish I could have had it. I was probably lucky that I got the Godzilla one, honestly, but you know, you always wish you could have had more. It's Chozo, what is going on? Shogun Warriors probably inspired Transformers. Well, I think to a smaller degree, it helped inspire what became the robot craze. But you got to remember, like right after World War II, a lot of these toy companies like Takara and everything like that, they were primarily producing dolls and stuff like that. Although they did have a few of these wind-up like toys that were like almost all metal. And a lot of that actually came from what I understand is they were recycling all the cans and everything that the Allied troops had left around from their ration packs and everything like that. So there was a lot of cans. So they were recycling the cans and they were making metal toys out of them that were wind up like little wind up rolling robots and cars and other stuff like that. It's kind of interesting how it all started. But I mean, eventually when you get into what became the Transformers, I can get in that in a second, but let me get through the chat here. Sherry, hello there. Welcome. And I'm Not Creative 22. What's going on, buddy? I am working on a video of where I'm going to incorporate a piece of your video that you did recently talking about YouTube and their nonsense. But Iron Man, smash the like button if YouTube takes it away. Come back and hit the like button and smash it again until it sticks. Yeah, they like to play games. But when you're actually talking about what actually inspired the Transformers in the end, yeah, there was a lot of these robots that came out. And of course, when Star Wars hit, that helped really create more of a craze for robots, but it actually started earlier. And Shogun was an early one, but there was also what was the Takara brand of their version of the G.I. Joe. Because when Hasbro first ran with the big 12-inch G.I. Joe figures, they wound up sending them out in a licensing to Takara in Japan. Takara in Japan started making the same type of Joe figures, but they called them like Combat Joe instead of G.I. Joe. Well, the kids in Japan didn't really like that. So what they did is they changed the figures and they started putting them in superhero outfits. That only lasted for so long. So Japan took it to the next logical step, and they said, well, we got to make these look robotic. And that's when they wound up creating what was called the Henshin Cyborg line out of those big 12-inch G.I. Joe figures. They took the bodies and they kept them basically the same, except they gave them a lot of transparent plastic and mechanical innards, almost like engines and other stuff on the inside to make it look like they were cyborgs. And then they gave them like all these weird attachments for the arms. So in a way, that was the beginning of what would become the Transformers. Eventually, they shrunk down to Microman. Microman wound up getting sidelines where they had transformable play sets and vehicles and stuff like that, which gave rise to the Micro Change line, which were the cassettes, the camera that became Reflector, Cassette Man, who winds up becoming Soundwave, Megatron, who was the Walter P-38 Uncle gun. All those figures, they spawned from the Henshin Cyborg, which actually came out before the Shogun Warriors, if I remember correctly. Then, of course, in between that, you also had the Gundam series that came out, which was like 1979. So, yeah, there was a lot of influence for what became the Transformers before they were ever even really thought of. It's really interesting, and eventually I'm going to wind up doing another video about that. I did one a long time ago on my channel, but I would like to go back into it and retell it with a little bit more than what I told it back then, because I kind of felt like I was rushed back then because everything had to be short because of how bad my internet was at the time, where it would take me, I don't know, 16 to 24 hours to upload a video that was over 10 minutes long. So it was ridiculous. Soul Assassin from Kansas Toys, clever. Yes, it absolutely was. And it was a way to use that kind of stuff and not just have it laying around as trash. I mean, they had to do what they had to do because they were just coming out of a war. And a lot of those companies were really financially destitute. So being able to use basically war surplus or war trash, if you will, to their benefit, that is absolutely brilliant to be able to do that. I mean, actually, if I'm going to say that, I got to do this right and bring out Pig Roddick. Brilliant! It was absolutely brilliant. But no, it was very interesting what they did. Chaos Hoy, what's going on? How am I doing? I'm doing all right. They just got done with a good, like, I don't know, almost 2-day long fight with idiots on Twitter. So, Keck 44, what's going on? I'm not creative 22. What's going on? I mean, dinner and trying to watch a stream at the same time. Yeah, that's not bad. At least you're not like doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I always wanted the big Die Ruger. Yeah, you know what? The Die Ruger set was actually part of the Voltron set, and that was like the vehicles. They called them Vehicle Force Die Ruger. Oh, Jesus. I just had this name in my head because I was talking about it like, what was that? Was that last week or the week before? But yeah, the Die Ruger set. And they also used the same thing when they had the Shogun Warriors. They had something called the Die Ruger. And I forget what his full name was because they had so many different names. Like, yeah, they had the Great Mazinga, and then they had a couple of these other ones. Like, I found one over the house. It looks like a UFO. And in the middle of the UFO, it has a tiny little robot guy that actually spring-loaded and can shoot out of the center of the UFO. Then it's got 2 arms that let down on the side that have firing missiles in those, like these little pods on the end of the wings. Really cool-looking toy. That's another one. How that thing wasn't broken, I don't know, and I'm amazed that it's still in one piece. Henshin is Japanese for transformation of the body. See? There you go. Awesome. Which was the vehicle? Yes. When they brought it to the States, they actually, and that was interesting. And I talked about that when I did the Voltron one, that all those things actually started out as Japanese anime. And basically all they did was just redubbed them and did a little editing in them. And they introduced them to the American market with a new name. They didn't even really have to do much. Parrothead, what's going on? Just swinging by to drop a like. Have a great stream, Tommy. Thank you, Parrothead. You have a good one. God bless Japan. You know, they have created so many amazing franchises. Amazing. They do have great imagination. Mr. Gregory, what's going on? And Luffy is God. What up, buddy? Hi, all. The robot interest started with Astro Boy, at least in Japan, but Transformers came out of shows like Transformers Z. Well, like I was saying, there was a lot of other shows before that, and a lot of other things that kind of led up to it. Pigrotic, yeah. So, I mean, to actually pinpoint the actual start, because I actually have another older figure. It's from 1975, and it's called, hold on, let me think. It's Sutton Max. Basically, it's a big, tall figure. He's probably stands a little over a foot tall. He's got a silver chromed head, and he's got this white body, and he's robotic looking, and he's got these like reddish orange, like almost like plastic nuts on the shoulders, the elbows, the knees, the top of the hips, and all that. And you could basically take him apart. And then he came with like this little powered sled that had like a cable on it and a motorized pack in it that could actually hook the cable to something and it would pull him along. And I think he came with a helmet and a sword or something like that. But yeah, that like came out really early. That came out in 1975. There's a lot of interesting stuff like that. I actually did find that one over the house too. I don't remember finding the sword. I did see the helmet, but I think it may have been broke. Guinea Pig Collective joined together to form a giant Shogun pig. That would be awesome. Brightest day, what's going on, buddy? Welcome. I used to love Star Blazers and Force 5 back in the day. Holy crap, man. I love Star Blazers, Chris. Holy shit. Like the first time that they actually brought the Yamato out of that freaking like baked in dirt in the ground and they reformatted it to be a spaceship. Such a great show. And once again, that was all Japanese animated. They just brought over to the States and redubbed and edited a little bit. The animes were so good, they didn't need to do much to bring them to the US market. Absolutely. Everything was already there. It was already packaged and ready to go. A small amount of editing and take out some things that maybe they couldn't have in the American market and then redubbing it in English. That was basically it. Maybe if they wanted to add different music and, of course, you know, putting the title name into it. That's all they really needed to do. Zachariah 315, what's going on? Welcome. Our Star Blazers. Yep. And I actually seen the live action version they did of it. It wasn't too bad. I think they called it Battleship Yamato or something like that. It was out of Japan. I thought it was decent. I didn't mind it. I kind of wish they would touch up the old Star Blazers and like re-release them on DVD. I would love to be able to get a good collection of those. Something that's completely remastered like they did with the 1986 Transformers, the movie. You know, they completely remastered that thing. They touched it all up and brightened everything up, and they added some of the old footage that got taken out of the original theatrical cut. I wish that they would do that with Star Blazers and at least just remaster the whole thing, recolor it, and bring it back out. Animes were far superior than American TV back in the day. Yeah, absolutely. Luffy is God. Have you seen the live action Star Blazer? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Battleship Yamato. Yep. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. You know, I still like the original cartoon more than I like the show. Like I said, I don't think the live action was bad. It paid a lot of close attention to the original cartoon, but of course, growing up with the original cartoon, that is actually going to have a little bit more sway with me than a live action version. Luffy is God. There is a remastered version of Star Blazers. Oh, really? Where'd you find that, Luffy? Was that like Amazon or something? Because I hardly ever check Amazon. That's kind of like my wife's thing. She's always looking on Amazon. I hardly ever look on there. There's something about their site. It just irritates me, and I can't figure out what it is. But then again, I'm irritated about a whole lot of things. So, you know, it's probably not surprising. But when I was going through some of these figures, there was actually a few more that I originally had in the collection, and I fail to remember the one guy's name. I think his name was Poseidon. It was another one of these Shogun Warrior figures, and it was like in the 5-inch range or so. And it was really weird because he was almost like an early version of a Transformer too, because he had these legs that would actually fold down and become tracks. There was a whole lot of things that wound up leading to the Transformers before the Transformers ever showed up. But Shogun Warriors was definitely another one of those franchises that helped lead into the robot craze, along with all the ones that came after it. You know, the Micro Change, the Micro Men, the Henshin Cyborgs, and of course Gundam, which came out in 79. And there's still a lot of people that forget Gundam came out that early. Like they think it's more like a late 80s, early 90s thing. No, that shit started in 79. If you sail the high seas, you could find it. Yeah, I can't really do that. My internet ain't that good. I could barely turn on the regular streaming services sometimes. It's so bad. Captain Trek is here. I miss Captain Trek. What's up, Captain Trek? What's going on, buddy? Yo, Slashers. What is up, pal? Yeah, man, we're just talking about a little bit of the Shogun stuff, man. Great toy line. Amazing toy line, in my opinion. I would love to see that toy line brought back as a retro, like they've been doing with so many of these other franchises, bringing back some of the old G1 Transformers again, bringing back the real Ghostbusters, bringing back that Masters of the Universe line. They even brought back some of the old Aliens figures that they did, like the weird ones that they did. Like I think that was mid to late 80s, early 90s. They had the ones with Ripley and the Space Marines, and they had the aliens, the Alien Queen, and all that stuff. They redid them last year, and they looked amazing. And all the play features they added to them that the original ones didn't have, they added more. I mean, I thought they were fantastic looking. I really didn't want them for my own collection, but I really did appreciate what they were doing, bringing that line back. And I would just love to see them bring some of these other lines back. Like Shogun Warriors, I think is one of those lines. If they were to bring those toys back right now with the retro craze that we are currently going through, I think those things would sell like hotcakes. Unfortunately, you would probably have a hard time finding them in a store with all the damn scalpers that are running around out there, because they are absolutely insane. It's JJ. What's up, JJ? I bought the 35th anniversary edition 4K Blu-ray of Transformers the movie. Awesome, man. Yeah, I wound up getting the Steelbook version of it, and I am so happy that I did get it. And I'm not sure what you paid for yours, but I paid an amazing price for the Steelbook, and I got it for about, I think it was $40 even, and that's like after shipping and everything. I got an amazing deal on it, brand new too. To Helium 29, you can get the Gundam in a collector's Blu-ray box set. Nice. Everybody's saying hi. Or it might, yeah. Well, Robotech actually didn't come out until later on. They didn't come out, and I want to say it was like 82 or 83 is when Robotech came out. It was somewhere. It might have even been 84. It misses me just a little bit by a few years, but Robotech didn't come out until the 80s. Did Challenge of the GoBots come out before or after the Transformers? It came out before. Not much before, because it's kind of weird that the GoBots had beat the Transformers to the toy shelves by almost a year, because Tonka and Bandai had moved extremely quick to be able to rebrand them. And they didn't do much for the packaging. All they did with the packaging is they took the original Machine Men packaging from Bandai, and they basically just took the original package, they scanned it, they just put new American names like Psykill and this, that, and the other on there, and then sent them right to market. They didn't add any kind of new flavor text like Transformers did with their package. They added nothing. And when you got those original GoBots that were Tonka stamped, they still had the MR numbers on the bottom of them. But for some reason, they took their time putting out the cartoon. I could never really figure that one out, because every other franchise at that time, and that started with G.I. Joe in 82 when they relaunched, every other toy franchise either had the toy come out just before the cartoon released, or they actually would push the cartoon before the toy released in order to gain some kind of traction for the toy line to be able to sell. And that was one of the things that Playmates did when they made that deal to produce the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They said they refused to produce one toy until there was already a cartoon up to promote the toy line, which was incredibly smart because that sold the bulk of their toys. Because they already have a really good cartoon that kids are tuning into every single week, and they're fascinated by it. Now you release the toy line. Even though they already had the concepts for the Turtles in more of the comic book style. I mean, that's why when they released toys afterwards, that's why they were so much different than the cartoon, because they already had everything ready to go. They just refused to produce them until the damn cartoon came out. NECA has been killing it with their Kenner alien figures. Yeah, NECA has been doing an amazing job. And my buddy Vinny does a lot of talk on a lot of those type of figures, especially NECA. And I know one of the ones he did was he did the Frankenstein. And I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. I don't remember if that one was NECA or not, but he did Goliath from Gargoyles. And yeah, amazing looking figures. Unfortunately, sometimes with NECA and some of these other figures that are, other companies that are doing these figures, they're not always quite as sturdy as you would hope. That's the only sad thing about some of them. Luffy is God. They realized a remastered version. They released a remastered version, and there's a new animated version of the show. It's okay. Star Blazers is the American name. Battleship Yamato is the original name. Yeah. And once again, that's how they Americanized it. Scalper bots are the bane of my existence. Chris, I can't even get into those scalper guys and how much they irritate me. I've gone to those stores early in the morning trying to look for toys and couldn't find them. So I just wound up talking to somebody who was actually, running product out to the shelves. And I asked him, I said, where are all these figures? Like, where are they all out? And he says, oh, well, we normally bring them out to stock the shelves at this time. And I think he had told me at his store, it was like 9:30 to 10 in the morning is when they stock the shelves in the toy aisle over there. And he said, if you get here early enough, you'll be able to get them just as we're putting out. He said, if you don't, he said, all those people that are, snagging them and they're selling them on eBay, they come and they snag every last one of them. It's pretty disgusting what they do. And then they go back and they sell them online for like twice the price that they paid for them at a minimum. It's disgusting. Yuyu Hakusha and Gundam Wing are two of my favorite animes. I'm trying to remember. I think it was my daughter to like Yuyu Hakusha. I think 84. Yeah, I think it might have been 84. Always wanted to check out a Gundam store in Japan. Heard they're huge. I've never actually heard about how big they are, but Robotech came out in 85. Oh, I thought it was like 84. I mean, maybe they had concept and everything in 84, and then they actually released it in 85. Oh, 27 for it? Awesome, JJ. See, that's a good deal, too, to be able to find something like that that's all remastered and everything, too. It's amazing. The red and purple grid packaging of the Transformers was insanely good. The black gradient on the colored grid was epic. Yeah, it was. And that was one of the things that they did so much better than the original Takara versions of what was Microchange and the Diaclone lines. Those boxes that they had them in were extremely boring. Granted, the micro cassette packaging looked pretty decent, like on what was called the Robo Jaguar in the Microchange line, which became Ravage in the Transformers later on. They had the picture of what would be Ravage later on in the packaging for the Transformers, kind of like leaping across the bottom of the box. Those packaging were decent, but when you got to like the Microchange cars, which were basically remodels of what were penny racers at the time, where these little pullback cars, you would put a penny in the back where it was like a little, slot. And if you know a lot of the original Microchange cars like Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, they had this little like thing on the back where their head flipped down. It was like this big silver honking thing in the back. That was actually a direct nod to the old penny racers. And basically what that was a slot in the back to put a penny. And once you put the penny and wound it back, the car would do tricks as opposed to just going straight forward. But the boxes for those things were so incredibly boring. It just said something like a mini robo car or something like that on it, and it gave a number, and that was it. So when Hasbro brought it over from Takara, they went and wound doing all that incredible package work. They went to Marvel, Jim Shooter, and eventually Bob Budiansky, and they did all the backstories and the bios and everything for the Transformers and made it what it was. And that is how they beat GoBots. GoBots didn't take the time to put all that backstory and information that kids wanted to see on the packaging. Now, why they beat them to the market and they did really well at first, they couldn't compete with the Transformers in longevity because they just did not pay enough attention to the packaging and detail that kids wanted to see on there. And that really started with Hasbro with the G.I. Joe line. Because if you remember the original G.I. Joe line, when it re-released, they had these big detailed bios on the back of the damn toy packaging. Nobody else was doing that before those guys. I mean, you maybe had a brief story. You didn't have it in-depth detail of the character and their bio and what they were. I'm not Creative 22. Some toys are not made like they were back in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, you know what? Even 90s and 2000s. But when you start going back even further, like especially these toys that came out in the 70s, holy shit, these things were made tough. Like I'm telling you, all the garbage my dad had piled, and those who know me and have seen some of the pictures of what that house looked like, or some of you may have seen my older videos when I was cleaning out my father's house, seeing all those stacks and piles of boxes on top of boxes on top of boxes. All those toys were underneath this huge landslide of boxes, and all that weight was like on top of these things. A few things got crushed, but most of them came out unscathed because of the way they were made back then. What's up, Shellback? If you want to bring your Shelly self on, you can if you're able to. Soul Assassin. Sometimes the employees are the scalpers too. I heard stories of employees hiding figures and charging folks to hold them. Yeah, I've heard those stories too. I've also heard the stories where I was talking to Vinny, and Vinny said he had a friend that was talking about it, and he says his friend stocks. And basically what happens is scalpers come in, they get ignorant with the people that stock the shelves, and they say, where are these figures at? I want these figures right now. I demand these figures. Well, these guys go in the back, they take the figures, and they'll stomp on them and then bring them out. That's why sometimes you might go to a store and you might see toys on the shelf, and you'll see that the packaging is all crushed up. That's why. The stockers are crushing it because the scalpers are coming in being jackasses. They need a visit from the Guinea Pig Collective. There's a lot of people need a visit from the Guinea Pig Collective. Bear, what's going on, Bear? Welcome, buddy. Greetings to all. Chris Fisk, I visited the Gundam shop in I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. Akihabara? When I worked in Tokyo back in 2013, it was amazing. I actually have somebody that I know who's still over in Japan, John, the entertainment hacker, and he talks about some of the things that you still see over there, even to this day. Yo, JPs, what's going on? Oh, God, the penny racers. Yeah. I was kind of wishing I would have found some of them over the house, too, because like all those silly little toys that they were coming out with back then, they always bring back memories for me. Like, holy crap, those things were so cool as a kid to see them on shelves. And even though you couldn't get them all the time, you remember them. Just like, do you guys remember that it was like this stupid little fuzzy thing, and they wound up eventually selling it in the bubblegum machines. But it looked like a fuzzy little worm on a string. And basically, you would just pull the string and make it look like this fuzzy worm thing was going in between your fingers or going over your hand or climbing over your leg or wherever you put it. I remember early on, that was like a silly toy that they actually had packaged on the shelf. And then eventually they wound up throwing it into the bubblegum machines. Chris Fisk, I used to have a few of those penny racers. I even had some weird skateboarding kids that had the same wheel mechanisms. I remember my brother was really big into tech deck figures. And he had an assload of them, including one that was a remote control tech deck guy. That one was pretty huge too, and it had it was a punk rock guy with a big giant mohawk. PJ from the Orville Nation, what's up, PJ? How are you doing? Or GoBots versus Transformers is a classic example of the tortoise versus the hare. Yeah. Well, you know what? But that's the funny thing is the GoBots started out on fire. They absolutely started off on fire, and then they just ran out of steam. And then they started making really poor decisions at the end of the line, especially when it came to the Rock Lords. That was such a poor marketing strategy. Like if they would have just came out with that as kind of like a sideline and not as like, oh, we're making a movie and this is going to save the franchise and we're going to have big actors like Telly Savalas in the movie to get you all excited for GoBots again, and then it failed miserably. It just was not well thought out, not at all. I used to cut out the G.I. Joe Action Force ID cards and had a photo album of those until my mom threw them out. Oh, that hurts. Last Airbender is not anime. Space Dandy is not so common to hear. I like the episode where they start a band, the Dropkicks. I was never big into Last Airbender. That was a little bit really after my time as far as like watching a whole lot of cartoons, because by then I was working all the time. But I remember my daughter used to watch The Last Airbender. That was her show. Not how you start the race, but how you finish. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes, and I've said this a few times, sometimes slow and steady will win the race. I have your dad's house is packed full of awesome. Yeah, it was full of it. Yo, Toxic Man Flu, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Not anime. To me, it is in the style of animation, even though it was made in America. Picked up 319 each. Marvel Comics Presents. Nice. Those the old one bears, or are they like reprints? Not from 1991. Never mind. Cool. That's awesome. And see, that's the way to be able to get those comics and get what you like and get what you enjoy, is find somebody that's selling those old ones, especially if they're selling them in bulk. I know there was a few companies that used to sell like big packages of like prepackaged like old Marvel comics, and maybe there were some other ones thrown in, like maybe it was a DC or some company you never even heard of making a comic book. Maybe once in a while you get like a Dark Horse thrown in there. But there was these people selling prepackaged comics like that. They were all old, but they were selling them cheap because they were just throwing all these old comics in one bag, and you probably get them for like maybe $15 a bag, and you could wind up getting something from the 70s even in there. Like I found a couple where they had old Guardians of the Galaxies in there and stuff like that. Yeah. JP, still have a buddy I grew up with that has an original Starscream in the box and not taken out of the plastic packaging. You know, I used to have all those damn Transformers, and I used to have all the boxes, all the blister, cards and bubbles that went with them. I had all that till it was stolen, and it's still just a very sore subject with me to this day. So agitated about it. I mean, I rebuilt my collection and got back almost every single one that I ever lost, plus more. But it still pisses me off that I lost all the original ones, especially since one of them was given to me by an aunt who's long since gone. And it was like one of the first larger Transformers I ever got. So it's kind of one of those things it's sore with me. A Starscream is gem. Yeah. And those things in the box like that, or even if you just have the original packaging, sometimes the original packaging alone will sell for like $15 for just a box. I've had this discussion before. I've seen Optimus Prime, his Ion Blaster alone selling for $15. So if you have all that original stuff, and if you so chose, if you don't, you didn't want to keep them anymore and you decide to part them out, you could technically almost wind up making more for it if you parted them out. Tommy, do you remember the Turtle toys that changed into cars? I do recall turtles that changed. I don't remember if they were cars. I do remember turtles that they folded up into the shell. That's the ones I remember. I remember they had these turtles where you would just flip the heads and the arms and the legs inside the shell and then close it back up. It's without a doubt the best Western attempt. Oh, okay. talking about the anime. They're $7 and change now. Wow. Such great times with the toys from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, and you know what? And there was a lot of them from, like I said, 70s and early 2000s that aren't bad either. And then just recently, we're starting to see a reemergence of toys being done right and being done faithfully to the original lines and the original franchises. And they look fantastic. And while they may not be as sturdy as the ones back then, at least they hit 90% of the detailing in it to give you that same feel of, wow, this is from my childhood. Tina Bojan, what's going on? My boys watched The Last Airbender. My youngest mispronounced the main character's name, Avatar. Like the horror we can't say on Twitter and YouTube. Oh, that's hilarious. I have an anime club. Awesome. I've seen those older videos. Turtles beat rabbits. Yeah, over time they probably can. I was Googling the Transformers and reminded of those awesome mini spies that came packaged with some figures. Those things had the heat stickers that revealed their faction logo. Yeah, and that was the interesting thing about those mini spies. I actually have about 4 or 5 of them, I think it is. It might even be 6. I know one of them is kind of broken a little, and there's really nothing I could do with it. And a couple of the other ones were really bad because the bromine that they used in the plastic back then, it turns the white plastic brown, or even like the yellow plastic, like a dirty yellow and everything like that. So I actually found a way to actually take that miscoloring out, the yellowing out from the bromine, and I made the one purely white again. Unfortunately, the heat sticker got destroyed. However, there is a company that actually sells those old heat stickers that look just like the original ones. They used to be called Repro Labels, and now they're called Toy Hacks. And they literally will sell sticker sheets for any of the figures you could think of from the original G1, and they look spot on. Like, I actually bought a pack for Optimus Prime, and I compared it to an original Optimus Prime from 1984, and you could not tell the difference between these redesigned sticker sheets of theirs for the Optimus Prime character and the ones that were on the original toy. And then they, from everything I understand, their heat sensitive stickers are exactly the same way. But those heat sensitive mini spies, they only came packaged with the original 6 mini spies that got re-released in 85, because they didn't come with the newer guys like Warpath and Power Glide and Sea Spray and I think it was Beachcomber. Yeah, the mini spies didn't come with them. They only came with the original guys, which was Bumblebee, Cliff Jumper, Wind Charger, Gears, Huffer, and Brawn. Love the geek talk, Tommy. I'm good. I'm good with talking toys and stuff like that, and talking about old school stuff like that. That's my wheelhouse right there. That's what I love to talk about. I mean, I it's not to say that I can't talk about the more modern pop culture if I wanted to. I know enough about it, or probably more than I want to know about a lot of it. I just don't like talking about it because all it does is irritate me. If you like anime, let me suggest One Piece, by far the greatest manga and anime ever. That was another one I know my daughter watched. I know she watched that. And possibly even my younger brother, back when he was still, how can I put it, lucid. Drink cactus juice, it'll quench you. Nothing is quencher than cactus juice. Toilet tube. Yeah, it feels like that sometimes with their ridiculousness. Hell yeah, I had the red Bumblebee. I believe that was Cliff Jumper. Actually, no, Chris. This is actually what happened. When they were actually doing the transfer in between Takara doing just microchange and Hasbro bringing it to the States as the Transformers, they used some of Takara's leftover stock. So during the microchange line, there was no set definition of color for those characters. They just came in a wide array of colors. So you might have gotten a Bumblebee in the microchange line that was red. You might have got one that was yellow. You might have got one that was like a turquoise color or a light blue or something like that. Like, there was multiple colors for a lot of those different cars. And what wound up happening is some of those in the various colors wound up coming over and being put into the early Transformer packaging. So there was a red Bumblebee, and then there was also a yellow Cliff Jumper. I have a red Bumblebee. Unfortunately, he's broken up when I picked him up out of a parts lot, and I do have a yellow Cliff Jumper. I actually had 2 of them at one point. I sold the other one because I didn't need 2 of them. What do I need 2 of the exact same figure for from 84? But yeah, those 2 versions were out there. There was actually another mini car that was part of the microchange line that never made it over to the States, and that was a smaller one that they say made it in a few packaging. And originally they were calling them what was it, Bumble Jumper, and eventually they wound up changing that to just Bumper. And he was like a little Honda Civics or something like that, or some kind of small car like that. And he was yellow like Bumblebee, but yeah, it was like a fluke apparently to find them. There wasn't many of them from what I understand. And some people actually deny it ever happened because they say they've never found the actual packaging for it because, you know, you can't tell the difference because the packaging was just the regular Bumblebee packaging. So who's to really say if it really happened? Sounds like a win if it's exactly the same. Yeah. I only had a couple of those minis, Beachcomber and Huffer, and the red plane, can't remember what his name. That would have been Power Glide. Yo, Ancient One, what's going on, buddy? Oh, damn, I thought it was just a dumb kid calling him Red Bumblebee. He may have literally been a red. Yes, he definitely was, Chris. They did have him. Like I said, I have one that's like partially broken. I haven't been fortunate enough to find all the pieces to put them back together. It is what it is. Now, Shellback, yes, turtles beat rabbits. Have you not seen the Bugs Bunny cartoon? Yeah, and he had a jetpack. Thank you, Ancient One. Yes, weak. But no, the Shogun Warriors, getting back to that, I love that franchise. I would love to see them do a retro return to that one because it was amazing to me. I thought that was a wonderful toy line. I wish I could have seen some of the original cartoons it was based on, because I know they had anime for it. I just was not fortunate enough to see it because it really wasn't one of those things that was really released in the States. That was more of a Japanese anime that just pretty much stayed over there, and I missed out on it. I mean, I know they have it available now, but I just haven't gotten around to checking to look for it. And one of these days I'm going to do it. So the other topic I have, whether or not we get somebody else up here to talk, is we actually had a couple people who were scheduled to show up. If they show up, great. If they don't, we will just run with open discussions with you guys in the chat because that's always fun. I don't mind doing that. But I wanted to talk about the one other topic that I actually brought to the table today. Not sure if you guys are going to remember this one. Some of you probably will. I would bet Chris will remember it. I'll bet RR is going to remember this. And a few of you other guys, Shellback won't, though, which is actually surprising. So we're going to play this clip for the next toy line.
Mad Balls. Now, the Mad Balls franchise actually came on the backs of the Nerf craze that permeated the market at the time, parents looking for a more safe alternative to the regular toys and sports equipment that kids were playing with. Yes, they were even getting a little bit PC back in the 80s. These were foam balls originally created by Amtoy, a subsidiary company of American Greetings. Now, after disappearing off toy shelves, the line was later revived by Art Asylum in 2007 to 2008 and Just Play Incorporated 2017 to 2019. Now, these were nothing more than rubber and foam balls, but what made them unique is the weird, gross out effect to these balls. These were very strange to say the least. You had things like a skull, an eyeball, a mummy, most of which appeared to be disembodied heads. Bash Brain, a gory zombie head with a partially exposed brain. This one was originally named Crackhead, but was later renamed Bash Brain due to the unpleasant connotations of a crackhead as a slang for, of course, a drug user. Of course, after the first initial line, they had a second series, Super Mad Balls, Head Popping Mad Balls, which were actually posable figures, which you've seen some of the same characters come back, like Dust Brain and Oculus Orbis, Skullface, Screamin' Mimi, Hornhead, and Slobulus. And with some of the later releases by the other toy companies, we actually seen ones that were based in horror, like the one I'm showing here, the Jason one from Friday the 13th. And they also had a Michael Myers, a Freddy Krueger, and a bunch of other characters from the horror genre.
So that was actually one of the ones that I enjoyed too. I had a bunch of those little mini figures with the heads popped off. The one problem with a lot of those toys from back in the 80s, and I don't know how many of you run into this. If you ever had somebody who like threw all their toys in a toy chest and they had rubber, like those heads had on those little mini poppable guys, and if you had anything that was like hard plastic and it got warm, the rubber on those damn older figures like that would actually melt into the plastic of the other toys and ruin them. Unfortunately, that happened to a few things I had. I had like an old racetrack. It was like a Tyco racetrack, with the little slot cars. Unfortunately, a few of these figures with the rubber heads wound up sitting on top of the race car tracks that got thrown in a big box by my father, and some of the tracks got ruined. That really pissed me off. But we don't talk about mainstream entertainment. No, I try to avoid it. It's not worth it. Lasso of Truth, how are you doing? Welcome. Yes, I love Mad Balls. Gross for one, gross for all. Yeah, you know what? And it was a fun little franchise that they had going on there. And I love when they had the figures too. One of the other things that they did do for Mad Balls is they had the very short comic book run. And they also went to do what was originally going to be a cartoon series. But they only made 2 episodes. I'm not even 100% sure if they showed them on American TV or not. I was actually having this conversation with somebody in my group chat for this channel, and we were unsure. And I think it was Tony Tone Deaf from Clown World Reviews. He thought maybe he's seen it on TV, but we weren't sure. I did see somewhere where it was aired in Canada, but it never said if it was aired in the States anywhere. I do know, however, that both episodes that wound up being released on VHS, but they were never done again on DVD or anything like that. One of the sites actually says that it was only released as a direct-to-video. So who knows? It's like a lot of these things, you could look up the history, but unless you have the firsthand knowledge of when and or if these things were ever aired, it's kind of hard to be able to say for sure. It's like Sonic or Venom. Would love to get one of those Mad Balls now and set it in resin, use it as a shifter knob. You know what? And I know up until like a year or two ago, I'd still seen it in a few different toys because I was out. Matter of fact, JPs, I was out at a Walmart or Target last year. One of the two. I think it might have been Target. And they actually still had some of those Mad Balls, the re-released ones, sitting up in the shelves. Usually they have that where they have all the movie type figures like the Godzillas and the Frankenstein type figures like the ones Vinny is always showing off on his channel and doing reviews about. That's where I seen those redone Mad Balls. And I remember seeing Pinhead. God, who else was it? I think it was Chucky and a few other ones like maybe Ghostface. But I remember when I first seen them, they had Michael Myers and they picked up I had the Jason one that I picked up. And then they had Pinhead and then they had Freddy Krueger and they had a few other ones. I think they even had some of the original like movie monsters like Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein. They had a bunch of different ones that they had actually released to kind of bring that line back, but it didn't really seem to do very well, and you would just see a smattering of those little balls laying around. So I don't know. Yeah, Burning and Bankrupt, yeah. I had heaps of Mad Balls in those tuber puppets called Boglins. Yeah, oh God, those things were ugly. Those little rubber puppet things. Yeah, they were freaky. I remember Mad Balls, but it came out at the same time as the Slime era, so there was other things that were cooler. That was a gimmick embraced by several toy lines, He-Man, Ghostbusters. Yeah, like back in the day when Mork and Mindy was still a show that was popular, they had a couple of Mork and Mindy toys that were released with like the slime stuff too. And then, of course, you started getting like the little slime things and the bubblegum machines too. And like every toy in the world had it. And then companies like, franchise companies like Nickelodeon started ruining with slime in this, slime in that. And then it got passe, it got boring, and it got played out. And then nobody cared anymore. Hey, Tommy, you should check your PM. Typing stuff on a laptop. No, I'm sure. I can't check it right now. Mad Balls were perfect for playing dodgeball with because they were soft and flew unpredictably. Made it challenging to hit people. I'm actually surprised, Chris, when they were going through all these products with Mad Balls and they were making all the things and they made them smaller. I'm surprised they didn't make larger ones like that. Like, I'm pretty sure if they would have made giant size Mad Balls, the size like a dodgeball or something like that, I think kids would have loved those. I think that would have been a way to probably, at the very least, like revamp the line a little bit to make it more interesting instead of just, making them smaller. And then, the poppable figures were cool in themselves, and it made sense with the action toy franchise that was like huge at the time. It made a lot of sense to be able to have them, but you can only do so many of those, especially when you don't have any like long running cartoons or comic book strips that help back up that franchise. Because we've seen with Silverhawks and a few of the other ones, without those type of merchandising behind them, they just won't last. I had one Mad Ball fell apart from play. Really? You must have put that one through the ringer. And I hope you were doing well, awesome one. Thank you for showing up. Son of a red shirt, what's going on? Hail Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, Captain Trek, and all you groupie people here tonight. Yeah, man. Having fun. I won't give Disney, Lucasfilm, Netflix any of my money. Yeah, I try to avoid giving any of my money. I still have Netflix because they, they've pissed me off, but they haven't pissed me off enough for me to cancel them just yet, but they are getting really, really close. Mad Ball, the size of a basketball. Yeah, that would have been awesome. And they could have did a lot of other things with that instead of just like the Nerf type material. They could have made like one that was like a basketball. How funny would that be with the way those things were shaped? If it was like a basketball and you try to bounce it and it starts bouncing all over the place. They're making a film about Robin Williams, and I saw a clip of this biopic of when Robin was starring in Mork and Mindy. It was uncanny how spot on the actor looked and sounded like Robin. Really? That sounds interesting. Yeah, I used to love Mork and Mindy, and like I had a few of the toys and everything. And one of the ones that I have, and I believe I brought it back from my father's house, it was this little 3 3/4 inch tall Mork figure. It was like the Star Wars figures. The arms and the legs moved and the head moved a little bit, but he had the eggshell. He had the egg where the top would pop off. It had an open window so you could see Mork inside, but you pop the top off and it had the seat inside the egg spaceship that he was supposed to come in. And then I had a couple other ones that it was like the spaceship egg, but it came with like some kind of slime or something like that. Fake super chat from Ancient One, a colossal-sized bag of premium carrots and premium lettuce for Tommy. The guinea pig, his wife, and the guinea pig pup so that they can weep out of complete happiness. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Went slime happy in the 90s. Yeah, Nick did go slime happy in the 90s, and they went overboard with it. I mean, they even had it in a few amusement parks that had like Nickelodeon, sections to their park. Darius, what's going on, Darius? I hope you were doing well. Nickelodeon stole that slime gag from the Canadian kids show. You can't do that on television. If that already came up, I apologize here. No, it didn't. And yeah, I do remember you can't do that on television. But Nickelodeon is the one that beat it to death. They beat it to death. What they're, I mean, they had a whole show dedicated to getting somebody slimed on the show. Was it Mad Balls that had some with fluid in them and they were discontinued? No, it wasn't Mad Balls. No, Mad Balls just made the foam ones, and then they made the little tiny figures with the hard rubber heads, and I think they had like a few mini foam Mad Balls, but no, they didn't have any ones with the poppable stuff like that. I know what you're talking about. It wasn't Mad Balls. It was some other franchise, and it was a very short-lived one because it pissed off the NPCs. He's a friendly cyborg. The game devs that made Star Siege and Tribes loved Mork and Minnie so much that there was an audible taunt in the game. Chessbot. Yes. And you can't have Mork and Mindy without him saying that. Or Nanu. I could buy the chat coffee. Just make sure it's not a Walton's coffee. I don't think nobody in the chat wants that. The links to Darius' channel. Awesome. Anytime, Tommy. Shipment of premium carrots and lettuce has arrived. And he's a shell shocker. Jedi turtle. So I know some of you are saying you remember Mad Balls. And there was a few other ones that one of my other friends was talking about. And I actually was thinking about talking about that tonight. But since he actually knows that one, I'm going to wait and see he has a chance to come on. That's my buddy Immortal Coil. One of these times, he's going to be able to stop on for this, and I'm going to let him talk about it. So, but I will say this. There was a few characters in the toy line that we were talking about and mentioned in the private chat, or should I say the channel chat, that actually have crossover characters from the Mad Balls, which was interesting. They had some of these companies that were actually taking the ideas from other companies and they were using it in their own franchises and somehow getting away with it because they changed it just enough that they weren't infringing on any kind of copyright. You can't do that on television aired on Nickelodeon in the U.S. Yeah, I remember those shows. My brother used to watch them. He was big into them. Shazbot. I liked Mork and Mindy. I used to love watching that show. There were so many of those good shows. One of the shows I'm going to wind up talking about next week on Going Old School is I wanted to talk about the Tick. I don't know how many of you remember the Tick cartoon, and if any of you seen the HBO version that they had out recently. Like I think it was like the last one was out like I think last year or something. But yeah, the Tick always cracked me up. That was another one I actually found that cartoon because my brother used to watch it. And since my parents didn't have time to pay attention to what he was watching, I would, when I got home from work or whatever, and he was watching his cartoons, I would sit down to check out to see what he was watching. All right, Keck, you take care, buddy. Thank you for coming. That brought memories back. You can't do that on television. Nick was fun back then. There was a lot of those shows were fun back then. Unfortunately, some of them started beating things to death, and they just killed it for a lot of other shows. Yeah, they only had 2 episodes, and from everything I was reading early on, it aired in Canada, and it was pretty much mostly, for the most part, a direct to video on VHS. And as far as I know, it's never been remastered or re-released on DVD, so only available on VHS. I should probably get a hold of Fanzine and see if he's ever run into it. I can't click on that from here, unfortunately, Ancient One, because I'm on StreamYards and you can't click on links in the StreamYards when you're viewing it. Someday Stompers and other similar toys. Like I said, Shellback, whenever you have the time to be able to come on and talk about that stuff, you are more than welcome to come here and talk about it. There's a few other ones that people have talked about from the chat that I'm eventually going to talk about too. I'm trying to bring up everything that you guys want to hear about every single time. Granted, there's some of them that I want to bring up and I actually have sitting on hold, or I have videos ready to go on them. that I'm just going to wind up bringing up at one point, and then I also have certain ones that I'm only going to be talking about on the stream on Thursday that I do with Vinny on Collectible Pass. So I'm trying to keep things different because there's no point in running 2 retro streams. Even if one is with Vinny, there's no point in running a second retro stream if I'm going to talk the exact same things I'm talking here. So I'm trying to keep them separate. I remember taking a laugh my head off at that show. Yeah, and I thought that the live action version one that they did on HBO pretty recently, I thought that was pretty decent too. It felt like the cartoon to a degree. Some of it seemed a little bit more, not really over the top, but it seemed a little bit too, I don't know, too grounded in reality, some of it, but a lot of it reminded me very much of that cartoon with the Tick just acting like a complete idiot. I thought the guy who played the Tick did it almost perfectly. Mad Balls was like Nerf, Evolution Garbage Pail Kid stickers. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the thing. Like, Nerf was huge at the time because they were like, oh, I'm tired of my kids getting hurt going out playing football. I mean, they had so many different Nerf products out at that time. They had their Nerf footballs. They had the Nerf baseballs. I think they even had like something that was like a softer version, almost like a Nerf dodgeball kind of thing, which is just so stupid. Like they went a bit overboard with it, but they were worried that kids are going to get hurt. And like all the air guns started moving over to like the Nerf style darts and everything like that, because the old ones were like them hard plastic with just the rubber tips. And you get smacked in the eye with one of them, that would hurt. You can watch Mad Ball Season 1 on YouTube. Yeah, I heard somebody say that. Oh, Slasher, what's going on, buddy?
Let's go, brother.
Not much, man. Just chilling like a villain.
Yeah. Talking Mad Balls now?
Yeah. I was just talking about Mad Balls.
I used to love those things.
Mortal Coil, what up? Rocco's Modern Life. Yeah, that was another show my kid used to watch. Nerf was for wimps. Soul Assassin. Did you have any of the minifigures, the poppables?
No. I used to see the commercials for them, and they were fucking awesome. But I never got
not poppables, poppers.
Yeah, the one it has the head pops off. Yeah.
Yes.
Nah, I never had them.
It was like a hard rubber head.
Yep, I never had them, but I thought they were cool as shit. I never got them. I had plenty of the regular, Mad Ball stuff.
My favorite was the Flammatorus. I had a rubber Slobulus Halloween mask when I was 9 years old. Oh crap!
I remember the
Chris,
masks
that's
too.
funny. I forgot all about them.
Yeah, I remember the masks. Was Slobulus the green one with the eye poking out of his head? Was that Slobulus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Nick back in the day was dope. Yeah, and Nick had a bunch of good shows early on. I want to say it was Great Adventure when I still unfortunately lived in New Jersey. They had a Nickelodeon section to the park, and then they had every hour they had a slime show. It was just it's part of the reason I just got sick of hearing the slime shit.
Thanks, Ancient One. I appreciate that.
Yeah, make sure to stop by and see Slasher. Oh,
what's
going on with Wednesday? Are you and JJ still getting together for Wednesday, or is Wednesday on hiatus for now?
I'm gonna do a movie on Wednesday on my own channel.
No, it's good to talk about those. I don't really take as much time to talk about movies on here because there's so many other things to talk about, and I know you guys like to delve into the movie stuff, so. Mm-hmm. I try to leave most of that for you guys to talk about. Nerf, never expanding recreational foam.
Talk about anything. You can talk about anything you want, bro. It's a free platform.
I know that, but you know what? I mean, you guys have been like throwing it down, talking about those older movies, and unless it's like a movie that JJ just won't watch.
Oh, see, that's what I'm doing on Wednesday. A movie that JJ refused to watch, so that's why I'm doing it.
What do you got? What do you got? Surf Nazis Must Die?
Miami Connection. I don't know if I could show Surf Nazis Must Die. I think if I just put that in the title, the fucking ADL is gonna come knocking on my fucking door.
Well, why don't you put surf Yahtzees? Don't put die either, because they might take offense to that and might think that you're threatening somebody. So, but surf Yahtzees must fly.
I actually tried to sit through that movie. That movie's free on YouTube, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah, it really is on. It's free on YouTube. At least last time I saw. I'm amazed that they're not shut down just for posting that title.
You know,
What up, Darius?
It's just a matter of they haven't gotten around to it yet. Talk about having fun, like from days past. One of the things I unfortunately wound up doing, like early on when I got on Twitter, is wound up getting into fights with idiots. And I just have like I didn't even realize it was that long. It started off with me and Krish and a couple of idiots like going on with the woke feminist agenda crap.
Oh, yeah, I saw he got his account suspended, right?
Well, no, this was just going on yesterday. And
yeah, but I saw he was saying he got his account suspended, so he had to start an account.
His new one?
I did. Yeah, he's on his backup now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's just doing it on his backup right now. And these freaking idiots were just blah, 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 blah. And it just felt like the old days of being on Twitter and just like going at these tarts for the sheer fun of it. So much fun. I eventually, I got a couple of them to block me. They had enough. I also got Gail Simone to block me yesterday, which was a lot of fun.
She still pokes her head out from time to time.
Yeah, you know, just like a turd that you haven't dropped off at the pool yet. You know, just like Anita Sarkeesian and the rest of them, the rest of those vultures. Yeah, I got her with a good one, and she was like, "Yeah, screw this, I'm out." No witty comeback there, bitch. You just don't have it in you. You failed. Another fake super chat. A video of Mad Squirrel performing a crazy druidic ritual gone wrong, where it involves Tommy the guinea pig, and he's transformed into a were guinea pig as he's seen going on a rampage. It's possible. It could happen. You never know. Stranger things have happened in pig world.
Yeah, you see, Darius is excited about the movie that I'm watching on Wednesday. Miami Connection, bro.
Yeah, Darius, are you down?
It's real low budget, real terrible acting. It's everything you want in an 80s movie.
You know what I started watching the other day? You want to talk about old movies? I had, oh God, what was it? I'm trying to remember what it was. It was, I want to say it could have been Netflix, but I wound up seeing Critters sitting there.
You know, I've never sat through Critters. I've never sat through it. I've been wanting to sit through it, but
I watched it a long time ago when I was a kid, and I barely remembered it. And I seen it, I was like, you know what? I gotta watch this thing again. And unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to finish watching it because I got pulled away by a stream that I was supposed to be on. I was like, oh shit, that's right, I got to be on a stream. But I need to go back to it. But yeah, the first 25 minutes of it, even though you really didn't even get to see the critters yet because they had only escaped from a penal colony, it was pretty funny up to that point, even without seeing them fully. Why waste your time and patience with the woke tards on Twitter? I don't know, Soul Assassin. Like, every once in a while, it's just like fun rattling their cages.
Yeah, I don't bother anymore.
90% of the time, they never have anything intelligent to say. And I had this woman tell me, oh, I've only said about 15 things. I've hardly been on here at all. Really? And I told her, I said, you've been on here for over 12 hours talking about you're a good mother. You must be up for the Mother of the fucking Year award, sitting here ignoring your kids while you're on here arguing with people that you can't stand. That shut her up. So then I looked back and I said, was it really 12 hours? No, it turns out that this idiot was sitting there arguing with Krish and trying to argue with me, even though we had left the conversation for a while. She was still going on for over 16 fucking hours.
Just yelling at a wall, basically.
Yeah, and then inviting her woke feminist friends in there. These toxic males. Yeah, like, yeah. Go ahead, clutch your pearls some more.
The usual routine. They gotta tag in their dickhead friends.
No, I laughed at all of them. I started giving them the snowflake alarm bell, and they started getting mad one by one. They started blocking me. And I'm like, yep, that's usually the way it works.
Cry harder. What up, Darth Haster?
Yeah, Soul Assassin says Miami Connection is dope. Friends for eternity.
I wouldn't exactly say it's dope.
I'm not creative 22. I heard the trans feminists are trying to cancel Ricky Berwick. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And of course, Ancient One talking about Mad Squirrel is yet to do that between two nuts.
Why are they?
Miracle of nature.
Why are they trying to cancel that guy?
They don't like him. Critters rocks. I'm also a fan of Scott Grimes, so that's a bonus for people that enjoy the film. Get it out of your system, because when I come back, the first movie we're doing is Xanadu.
No, CJJ. I'm not doing Xanadu. I laid down the conditions. I said I will see your Xanadu and raise you Miami Connection. If you're going to miss Miami Connection, then I'm not doing Xanadu. It's simple.
And what's going on, Darth Haster? I know Slasher already said bye. I usually like to bring up your comment when I say hi to you. You know what? I will see that, and I will raise him. Let me see something ridiculous. Sleepaway Camp.
All right, I thought you were gonna say something like Leprechaun in the Hood.
There was a lot of bad movies. You know, another one that I seen right next to Critters when I was perusing the old movies.
Ghoulies?
No. Nope. Chopping Mall.
That's also on you. That's also on YouTube for free.
I'm sitting there looking. I was like, I got two bad B-rated movies here. Do I want to go for Chopping Mall or do I want to go for Critters?
You know that movie is like a little bit over an hour. Oh yeah, Captain Truck. If you want to come through Wednesday night, yeah, we're watching a crappy movie called Miami Connection. I'll throw you the link Wednesday night.
Yeah, I got to see how things are going Wednesday night, because usually Wednesday is the one day I usually take off for the missus now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so she ain't bitching at me that you're on YouTube every day of the week. It's not my fault.
I like Sleepaway Camp. I actually like Sleepaway Camp.
You know what? And that's another one. I seen it on one of the services. I want to say that was HBO Max. I want to say I seen it, or maybe it was Prime. It was one of them.
It's on YouTube, dick and all at the end of the movie.
Leprechaun in the Hood sounds funny. Lasso of Truth. Yeah, Darth Cathers. Yeah, Sleepaway Camp. And Sleepaway Camp Part 2.
They made a 3.
Did they make a 3?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then years later, they did it, but with the actual cast members from the first one, because the rest of them weren't. Like 2 and 3, there was no one from the first one in it. It was the character Angela, but it was Bruce Springsteen's sister playing Angela.
Luffy's got, hey now, that's some of Warwick Davies' best work. He's a leprechaun in the hood. That's gold. Everybody knows you never go full retard, man.
Just hearing the title Leprechaun in the Hood is enough to make anybody laugh.
But Chris Fisk knows. He's got that sucker in his collection. He's got it in his collection. We know. It's okay. Yeah, I'm joking about that, but that was one of those movies that cracked me up so much that I was looking to get it in the collection, but I just never found the copy of it worth getting. So, a friend with weed is a friend indeed. I remember being told to spoil it for Sleepaway Camp before seeing the film. That takes away all the fun.
Yeah, somebody showed me the end before I saw the movie, so it was always kind of ruined for me. It was like the same thing with Scarface. The very first time I saw Scarface was the very end of the movie. So
what did they do in the third one?
Sleepaway Camp? Who the hell knows?
Like, how many more body parts could they mix up?
All right, the second one, Angela is now a camp counselor. I don't know where the hell they go with the third one, because I didn't see the third one. But I did see the second one.
Sleepaway Camp 3. In case you missed the first two, now she has dog parts.
Well, the best thing in part 2 is there's a hot girl who gets naked a lot in the movie. So that's pretty much the only thing worth watching.
I thought that was every horror movie from the early 80s.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Just one more leg to go for 30. Yeah, smash that like button. Come back and smash it again.
Or like the smash button.
Yeah, man. Let YouTube know that guinea pig suppression is not cool.
Huh.
Look up the Mug Life app on the iTunes store and tell me it doesn't remind you of Sleepaway Camp.
I think the second one was Teenage Wasteland. I think it was the second one.
Yeah, because I think the first one was just titled Sleepaway Camp.
Just Sleepaway Camp, yeah.
80s horror is the best. Absolutely, Lasso of Truth. There was a lot of fun horror movies from the 80s. I can't wait to get back and finish watching Critters again. And like Ghoulies, that's another one. I remember watching it before, but I don't remember what it was about because it's been so long. Other than the little creature things, and I remember sticking his head out of a toilet.
Yeah, they were like living in the circus or something. They were like part of a circus sideshow.
Possibly. I don't remember it very well. Davis has almost exclusively been in big movies, Star Wars, Willow Time Bandits, but the Leprechaun series is where he shines.
There was a cheesy 80s horror movie that I've been trying to find, but I can't find it, called Basket Case.
Oh my God, I did see that before too.
It looks cheesy as all hell, but
I remember it being horrible. Because there was a bunch of, we used to watch a bunch of those old movies when we were kids. Like we were like 15, 16, and 17. We would go out to the local video store and they always had that one wall with all the B-rated movies. Yep. You didn't see that shit in the bigger places. You know, like Hollywood and
Blockbuster never had that shit.
Yeah, so it was the local ones that had all the really funky shit. So we were in there looking at all these weird movies, and every week we would pick up one of these B-rated movies and watch it. That's how we found what was the one with all the killings in it?
Wait, which one?
the one that actually had legit murders. They were showing legit murder. Faces of Death. Yeah, there was Faces of Death, and then there was another one that called Traces of Death.
Yeah,
we found those over there in the B-rated section. Then we found movies like Creepers, which had these like little slug-looking things, or leech-looking things. That was weird. That was a weird one.
Did you ever see Frogs?
Frogs? I don't recall that one.
Yeah.
Chris says, Basket Case, that was so bad it was good. It had Belial, the gimp offing people.
They made more than one Basket Case. When I looked it up, I saw there was like fucking 3 of them.
I'm not creative. I love Critters 1, 2, and 3.
I didn't even know they made a Critters 3. Wow.
Mr. Mackey from South Park. Guinea pig suppression is worse than bad. Okay. Because guinea pigs are cute and fuzzy. Okay. If you love Critters, you will also love Tremors.
I love Tremors.
You know, and that's where I disagree. I hated Tremors. I don't know what Tremors? It was. I hated it.
Was it the father from Family Ties?
I don't know what it was.
Or Reba McEntire?
I wish I could be there, but as soon as I get back, my girlfriend was all, "Oh, hey, how would you like to go pick up food? Because I'm still working. Look at me. I'm Mad's girlfriend, and I have responsibilities. Boo." It happens, man. There's always next week or the week after. Guess what? I'll be here like clockwork. Unless something foolish happens. Mad Mardigan. Oh, Mad the Magnificent. Sure. Blame the girlfriend. I don't know, Mad. You're starting to make me doubt who's really the woman in that relationship now. Going to pick up food. Next, going to tell me that you're sweeping up in the house and vacuuming, maybe doing some laundry, maybe ironing some shirts. I'm getting worried about you, Mad. Get your testosterone back, buddy. Don't let this happen to you. I've seen too many other YouTubers go down this route. I'm just fooling with him. I like Mad. Mad did a hell of a job last week when he jumped on. But holy crap, hey man, it's good to get you back on here again too. I mean, I missed you being on these things all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I get the chance to come on, if I'm not sleeping or eating dinner, I'll come through.
But yeah, I mean, so I was talking about next week. I was thinking about doing the Tick.
The Tick?
Yeah. Talking about the old cartoon and obviously about like what I think they were doing right with the newer version on HBO. I've never watched the other one though. There was another series,
the live action
in between.
With Putty from Seinfeld was the Tick.
I heard that one was bad.
I've never seen it.
Captain Trick. Maybe Mad needs some sundresses. Oh no. And his 45 commercials. Yeah, I like the Tick. It's a funny show, and the newer version, the live action version they had on HBO, was not bad at all.
It was a cartoon.
No, it's a live action. It's a newer one on HBO. I think it's only a few years old or something. But holy shit, it's good. The only thing I didn't like is they didn't really give an explanation for his battle cry, which you don't hear until the end of season 2.
Spoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Warburton. Patrick Warburton was the Tick in the live actions. Yep. Brock Sampson from Venture Brothers. Joe on Family Guy. I mostly know him as Putty from Seinfeld.
Yeah, seeing the love for the Tick already.
They had to have made a toy line, right?
They did have some toys. My brother actually had a couple. He had the Tick. I don't remember. He had the Tick and he had one other one. I don't remember if it was Arthur or if it was something like American Made or who it was.
Was it around? It was around the time of the cartoon, probably, right?
Yeah. I think it was around the time of the cartoon or just a little bit after, like the initial launch of it. But Luffy is God. You tell her to pick up groceries on the way home and make that dinner herself like a real woman, and stay out of her makeup. Oh, yes, Ancient One. Mad does have a Twitter. I'm not sure if he has Instagram or not.
Oh, what's up, Bone? How you doing, man?
Spoon! Yo, Bone, what up? The only thing that I believe Americans remember Peter Serenovich, oh, Jesus, I can't say that, from was when he played Nova Commander in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Bat Manual. Deflator mount. Yeah. Okay, yeah. The guy with the bat looking outfit.
You know what I used to like? There was shit. What was it? I think it was in the middle of Dexter's Laboratory. They used to do this skit called the Justice Friends. Did you ever see that?
No.
They had a fake Hulk, a fake Captain America, and a fake Thor. And it was just them like lounging around their house being idiots.
No, I don't remember ever seeing that. Oh crap, that reminds me. I almost forgot something. I was supposed to pull up Chris Fist's Infinitales link. I sure hope that this doesn't crash on me. The last time I tried to pull YouTube up when I had StreamYards open, it just went poof. So, okay, well, so far so good.
Yeah, Soul Assassin sees. Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. The fake Thor was named Val Howen, and instead of a hammer, he had a guitar.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. Now, I'm remembering that.
And instead of the Hulk, it was Crunk.
God, who's in here that I should knight some people in here. This way, they're less likely to get hit from YouTube and their stupidness. I don't care if I have to mod the whole chat.
Oh, you mean like someone could get banned for saying "hey"?
I've seen it happen.
Yeah,
I've seen them banned for the stupidest shit.
That offensive 3-letter word.
I think the worst I've ever seen is when they actually ban somebody from a chat for saying hi or saying goodbye. Like, it was so stupid. Are you kidding me? And the latest one, when I flipped out on Friday, was over Red Gaze, when they actually hit his comment because he said, "You're a good pig, brother. Thanks for talking about my comment." Well, are you kidding me? Did you not see the name of my channel? Was it not apparent with Guinea Pig Collective? That's right, YouTube. I'm a pig.
It's getting more and more
about it.
It's getting more and more blatant every day. It's getting more and more blatant.
No, you're welcome, Chris. I'm looking forward to receiving it. And like I said, if it's not as good as everything else I've got, I'm going to find you, Chris. I'm going to find you. I'm only joking.
Hey, Tommy, Tommy, I'll be back in a second. I'll be back in a second,
right.
Tommy. Okay?
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
Grab some soda.
All right. Yeah, Crunk board. Crunko smash. Val Howland and face now. Die Fledermaus was the name taken by the Batman-like character on the tech. Came from the Johann Strauss opera of the same name. Major Glory, great cartoon. I remember the Justice Friends. Oh, I can't ban Chris anymore. I've actually seen him just completely hit people out of the chat before, Captain Trek. And it's not always a permanent ban, it's like timeouts and shit like that, but I've seen the Google moderator do it. They're ridiculous. And I just so had enough of it. If I got to sit there and mod every single person who's a regular coming by for these live streams, that's what I'll do, just to give the big giant middle finger to YouTube. But yeah, I definitely, that's going to be one of the shows I want to talk about. It's definitely going to be the Tick.
Right.
There's a few other older shows that I've been kicking around doing, and I'm not sure about when or if I'm going to do them.
Like what?
Well, I don't recall if we ever did like a full-on dive into the He-Man one. But I also have Vinny, who has a really good friend who loves talking about He-Man, so I'm thinking about saving that for Collectible Past. I haven't done like a dive into the Microman series. I've talked about Transformers numerous times, but I've never done a full out like the presentation with the video and everything for the channel, is like doing it that way with the full shebang, as it were. But I keep thinking of all these other franchises that I would love to talk about. I mean, I know Jens was talking about, he wanted to talk about Scooby-Doo at some point. Unfortunately, Jens has been a little MIA lately.
He hurt himself.
Yeah, did he? Bad? Because he never said he never said anything to me.
Oh, well, he told me he fell and hurt himself. Oh, I'm not going to go spouting his business right now, so I won't.
Well, yeah. I'm not asking for details. I mean, I'm just asking if it was real bad or not, because we could talk about that afterwards.
Well, he was on streams afterwards, so.
They delete comments without notice. Oh, yes. And that was another thing that was the biggest thing that I blew up about on Friday. I lost my mind over it, banning for goodbye. Yes, I've seen it. Literally, somebody was in the chat and they were saying, "Have a good night, everybody." Google moderator, boom. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And that was back in the day before the Google moderator wasn't hidden. So you could, as a regular mod on the channel, you could see what they were doing.
Ridiculous.
Now as a mod, you don't even see what the Google moderator's doing. Like I've been sitting in chats where I'm a mod. I don't see nothing going on, but people are like, "Oh, Google's taking away my comments." I was like, "Really? I'm not even seeing it anymore." Yeah, now they're all doing it behind the scenes, all secretive. They think they're slick. All they really are is assholes. I'm sure they will. I mean, it looks like all the work and attention and detail you're putting into it with the background that you already have with gaming, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, Chris. If you guys have the chance to be able to even at least check out his book, I'm going to post it again for him. I know he could do it. He could do it himself now, but I'll do it one more time because I'm being like extra nice today. And after my huge Twitter war, actually it was probably over 20 some odd hour Twitter wars that I've had. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling good. I got a lot out of my system. Made fun of some feminists. Made fun of some SJWs and some wannabe woke trolls. So I had a really good day yesterday.
Oh, I saw. Sorry to go a little off topic, but I saw in one of the group chats, I saw Darius said, "The asshole tried to make a comeback."
Oh yes.
That boy does not learn.
Yeah, you know what, Soul Assassin? And that's one of the things that drives me absolutely insane with that. I don't want to make this stream all about that because obviously it's talking about the old stuff we love, but I will say that that's one of the things that drives me crazy is they'll sit there and they'll ban somebody for a comment as innocuous as hello or goodbye, yet those freaking spam bots that show up in people's channels spamming porn and all this other crap, Google moderators just let that shit slide.
Yeah, that shit usually pops up on like my regular videos, not during a stream.
Neutered dog. I'm not creative. Has been going to town with this stuff, like trying to find out all the things that Google just like bans. He did a video on it. He's like put a bunch of words in to see what would get banned. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons type comic. It looks good. Everybody should check it out. Yes, Luffy. Yeah, Infinitales looks amazing. It kind of reminds me of some of that old stuff. Like, remember that Dungeons and Dragons cartoon they had out back in the day?
Yeah. The 80s one. Mm-hmm. I kind of remember liking it. It's been a while since I was able to see it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad. Do you remember they made the video game too? Ooh. It was an arcade. It was an arcade they had of it.
No.
Oh yeah, the arcade. It was the Dungeons and Dragons arcade, and they had scenes clipped from the cartoon. As like cinematics in between like levels and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty neat looking. I typically wouldn't ban a troll for just trolling on that channel, but I figured out who it was. Yeah, and somebody like that is just not even worth dealing with.
Well, Darius, it also could have been one of his little ball-sucking minions.
I don't know. He showed me what the chat was, and yeah, it looked like it was him. It looked like his MO. Because usually his cronies are just they're missing a few brain cells less than him, so they don't even come off half as intelligent as him, which is pretty low on the score. So I have been rinsed. I have the power. Capcom made 2 awesome D&D beat-em-up games, Tower of Doom and Shadows over Mystara. I have them both emulated on my multicade machine. Nice.
I think I might have played that Tower of Doom one. I might have.
Yeah, I remember going out to back, when they still had the arcades like prevalent everywhere. And I remember playing that Dungeons and Dragons one, and I thought it was fun because it just reminded me so much of the actual cartoon with the little cinematics that they had in there. I also remember that they did a toy line at one point, but it didn't last.
LJN, yeah, LJN put out toys. They were awesome friggin' toys too. They had I have this one in my attic, the Fortress of Fangs. You ever seen that one? The castle they had.
Yeah.
And let me try to. I'll bring up a picture for everyone else to see.
I know my brother had the one knight. He had like the bluish armor with like some kind of like snakes or dragons on. Yeah,
Lionheart. And he had a horse too. Yeah, this thing is awesome.
But I know he had a few more. And I remember there was like some side series where they had like Greek figures. It was made by, LJN too. Do you remember those?
Oh, Greek.
Because I remember, it was like the guy was in like Greek armor, but the armor was painted yellow. But he was like some kind of Greek soldier. And it was done the exact same way the LGN did the Dungeons and Dragons figures.
Will you see this here, the Fortress of Fangs? This thing was friggin' awesome. It had all these little traps around it. It had the gargoyle in the back. Oh, hey, this guy down here.
Yeah, there he is. There he is, right there. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. He looked like a Greek soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow armor.
These were the bigger ones. These 3 over here, compared to these 2 over here.
Yeah, because I think that
Warduk. This guy was the man.
Yeah, weren't those 3? They weren't part of or at least the 2 larger ones there. Weren't they part of a different series?
No, it was Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, it was still Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah. They just made certain guys taller than other guys. I guess so they could slap like an extra $2 or $3 on the price tag.
Yeah. Well, no, back then it wasn't even $2 or $3. I mean, back then it was probably like $1, maybe $1.25 at maximum.
But these were the figures. They also had the PVCs. They had some cool ass PVC ones too. The immovable ones.
Right. Yeah, I do recall them too. As a matter of fact, he had the same guy, would you? Because his name was Warduk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had that one too in a mini.
I had him and his horse. He came with a cool ass horse. There he is, OG Warduk.
See, that's actually good for me because I couldn't remember what his shield looked like. Because I found the figure, and I found a whole bunch of like oddball weapons, but I couldn't remember what his shield looked like. So now I see that I can remember. Okay, it's that type shield. So when I dig the figure out, I can piece them all back together with his original weapons.
I have the figure somewhere. I don't have the weapons, but I got the figure somewhere.
that was one of the things I was actually surprised to find with a lot of those toys, especially with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I found almost all the weapons, even like the little throwing stars that the turtles came with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The little plastic.
Yeah,
they
they
take
were
off the little
they were there.
wraps.
I found a couple of them where it actually had the weapons rack with the weapons still attached to it, like they were never popped off for like the foot soldiers.
This is Warduk and his horse.
Okay.
Nightmare. It was cool. The good guy had a horse too.
Yeah, I could see him in the picture down
there.
there.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There he is.
Because he had like the whole silver armor or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the goody two shoes.
That looks like that was probably like the same thing that Mattel did.
Oh, you mean how?
Line?
Yeah, how there
With
was
the
a good
He-Man line,
horse, a bad horse, a good bird, a bad bird.
No, where they just had something already in a previous line and they just kind of repainted it to throw it with another line. Because I mean, that's what they did with Cringer and Panthro. They just came from the old Big Jim toy line, and basically they did is they repainted one. And yeah, you didn't know that?
Nah,
that's where Cringer and Panther came from.
No, I didn't know that.
They needed a mount, and they were like, "Well, what are we going to do? We don't have the time to design something new." So they said, "Well, let's just look at what we already have." And they looked into the Big Jim line. They seen this big tiger. And he's like, yeah, one guy just paint it up, So he painted it up green, put the orange stripes on it. And he was like, he's like, oh, yeah, that looks great. And the guy was pissed off because he thought, I'm going to make this thing look ridiculous. And he's going to say, no. The guy liked it. And he says, this ain't going to work. It's too much. It's too large for the He-Man figure. He said, he said something to the effect of, I don't give a shit. Throw a saddle on it and send it down the marketing. And that's how they made Battle Cat. And then the same thing with Panther. All they did is they just flocked it and painted it purple. But it was the exact same tiger from the Big Jim line.
What's up, Jedi Bill?
Oh, Jedi Bill, what's going on, buddy? I used to mix and match my D&D figures with my crystal figures and weapons. Who could not forget the
Crystal figures floating around my house somewhere. I don't know how the hell I got 2 Crystal figures, but
finally someone I can ban. I mean, welcome, Jedi. Chris Fisk says, I painted all my TMNT weapons because they were all initially brown. Silver paint and a dry wash colored coated grip for each turtle made those weapons look 100 times cooler. You know, I just never colored mine. I did, however, find I'm pretty sure I know you're going to remember this, Slash, and I guarantee Chris is going to remember because Chris seems to be right in tune with me on this stuff too. The big, large, like what were they? They were a little over 1.5 feet tall turtles.
I
found one of those in the house.
Damn.
I didn't find. I didn't find both swords though. Huh?
They're like 10-inch figures, right?
Actually, no, they were bigger than 10 inches. Those things were pretty huge. Like they were over 1 foot tall. I'm almost positive. I'm pretty sure they were over 1 foot tall. If they weren't over 1 foot tall, they were pretty close to it. But yeah, I found him, but I don't remember finding his swords because I found Leonardo. And I do recall with the big turtles, the swords were actually colored. Yeah, the weapons were colored and the handles were color-coded to the turtle. So Leonardo's swords had like a light blue color to them. Yeah.
Wait, is that
the He-Man documentary on Netflix? Yeah, the Toys That Made Us. Yeah, they do an amazing job. Right? Yeah, Miss Martin Muses. Hello there, Miss Martin. Always good to see you. Oh, damn. I remember seeing those in the store, and a friend had the Donatello. It was huge. Yeah, because they had all the turtles. They never made Shredder or any of the other ones. I don't even think they did. They didn't even do Splinter. They just had the 4 turtles.
Which is pretty friggin' pointless. You're just gonna do the turtles, no villains?
Yeah, it was just one of those things. I mean, they did the same things with a couple other figures. Son
You know
of a
what
red
it's
shirt.
like? It's like, all
I,
right, when Kenner started doing the Batman line. Oh, sorry.
uh-huh. No, go ahead. You go ahead first.
When Kenner had the exclusive Batman rights, it was like, what was it, like 89 or 90?
Yeah.
And they were every series they would have like 6, 7, 8 different color Batman figures, and you'd be lucky to get a villain in that line.
Yeah, they weren't
So,
even trying for most of those figures because they didn't even change the design. They just repainted them.
yeah, or gave him a new stupid friggin' gadget.
Yeah, because they had the one in blue, they had one in red, they had one in gold.
Yellow, the fucking lime green.
Didn't they have a snow one too?
Probably. Yeah, I think he had snow camo pattern on him.
So ridiculous. Now, Son
But
of
like
a Red Shirt says,
seven different Batman.
I had the big Jim and his adventure plane. I love that guy. I haven't thought about him in years. I'd send him and my old school 12-inch G.I. Joe with real hair and kung fu grip on the most dangerous missions. I did wind up pulling back one of the older G.I. Joe figures. Now, this is actually when they were changing G.I. Joe over from G.I. Joe into Action Force. They had this weird lizard creature who he was a little shorter than a Joe. I think he was just under 12 inches. But he had this he had like a bobbing head or something like that like made like a clicking noise. And in his one arm, if you moved his one arm a certain way, he had a hole in the middle of his chest with a red light. I think it was the arm, like maybe you pushed the arm in or something like that. I forget exactly. Or maybe there was a button. But I found that figure. I think the only thing that happened to mine is I think his one arm had popped off. So I've got to take it apart and fix it. She happens to be a rose in a flower pot. Make sure to subscribe to Miss Martin Muses. Yes, the Two Nuts podcast. Maybe one day. Bruce Lombardo, Nick's Division. What's going on, Bruce? Hell, you amazing and intelligent people. Oh, goddamn. Complimented after being harassed by feminazis for over 16 plus hours on Twitter? Thank you, Bruce. I don't feel that intelligent. Although I do feel more intelligent than them. Oddly enough, I have a bunch of Kenner Batman figures and one Joker in a box at my folks' house. There you go. I mean, you know what? Here, I'm going to tell you a funny story. So I was sitting there one night, and I don't know why. I was just kind of remembering all those like oversized figures that they were making back in the day. And I had this weird dream that I was going out someplace like a flea market, and I found oversized mini bots, like the original, mini Autobots that they came out with, like Huffer and Cliff Jumper and all that. I had this weird dream that they had oversized mini bots sitting on a freaking a flea market table.
That means the toys are consuming your entire life, and you can't stop thinking about them.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. At least it ain't meth.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Or gambling or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and in case you haven't, if somebody can drop Bruce's link. Matter of fact, is Bruce modded? Oh, Miss Martin isn't modded either. What is going on here? What is wrong with me? There's people that are unmodded in this chat. I can't have that. If I missed anybody, you gotta let me know. I'll just mod you. Hey, yeah, Jedi, we'll mod Jedi Bill too.
You get a wrench. And you get a wrench.
Everybody's getting a wrench because YouTube is not going after my chat. Fuck you, YouTube. You can kiss my ass. You're not fucking with my chat. Haha, bitches. No, I'm not having it anymore. That's how we get around it. Just tired of it. I want to have fun. I want to be able to talk about the things I love. I want the people that are in the chat to be able to talk about the things I love and say what they want to say without having these freaking Fruit Loops sit there and try to moderate my chat. Suck it. Trying to have some fun. I know one of these days, I want to be able to talk to the ladies, Miss Martin, maybe Teresa. I'm trying to think of who else would probably be into some of those older toy lines, or maybe know something about an older toy line to be able to have them up, like have a ladies' night toy discussion on retro. Slasher, if you want to put on a wig, you can be there for that one.
Yeah, all right. I'll talk about my love for strawberry shortcake.
There you go. See? Team player right here, people. What's up, Long Box Diving? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you are doing well. But, yeah, I mean, oh, God, there's so many of those old toys. Oh, Jason Lee Tucker, what up? Stop by and say hello on break at work. Awesome. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate that. And Bruce says, was there ever a Minmei doll for Robotech? I don't think that there was. Because all that was done by Bandai. And even when they did Bandai Macross and they brought it over to the States, it was very limited in what they were doing with those Robotech figures. I mean, that was part of the reason when they licensed it out to Transformers for Hasbro, and Hasbro only, because they weren't allowed to release it over in Japan and everything. There was actually limitations on what they could do with those figures because, Robotech was still a thing, and they didn't want them promoting it as Jetfire and causing confusion to their product line. Yep, yeah. Mad Squirrel. Yeah, if I can get a hold of her. 9 away from 500 subs, Captain Trek. Oh man, if you guys haven't gone by, make sure you check out Captain Trek. Stop by his channel. See if you like what he's doing and give him a subscription if you do. He always has those morning coffee chats. I wish I could stop by for him. Usually I'm not up that early. Actually, I should say early this morning was a bit of an oddity. I was up a lot later than I should have been. And where was it? Day before? No, it was the day before. And I could have stopped by for it, but he wasn't actually running a coffee stream that day. And I was like, oh, well. You could rock a Kenner's 1980s video. I've done a lot of talks about certain franchises from Kenner, Mattel, and a lot of the other ones. And I always love talking about them. And I really need to get back on doing more of those. Unfortunately, I did lose all my intros and everything like that. So I'm actually in the process of creating a brand new Toys from the Past intro. And I'm doing a lot of other stuff that I'm trying to get prepared so I can get back to talking about toys and movies. I recently just put together the new Talking Movies intro, which it'll have a little more pizzazz than the old one. I'm trying to be fancy pantsed.
So doing talking movies, are you gonna have a specific movie you're gonna have a table of people talking about, or just everyone just shooting the shit about movies?
Well, no, just like the regular videos. Just the regular videos that I used to do, where I used to do the talking movies and just pick one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back into doing them. It's been a long time, and I've really been meaning to get back at it, but there's been so many things going on, with all these different shows, especially with Rogue Entertainment and the new show I have with Vinny on Thursday. I mean, I've been so busy, bouncing around doing things, that I haven't had a chance to really sit down and really go at it. And then on top of that, I'm supposed to write a comic book. In conjunction with my daughter, because she's going to do all the artwork for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Guinea Pig Collective comic book. Nerium and Red Gaze and Vinny talked me into it. Doing good, and it's been a while. Man, it's good to see you again. Check out the Jason Lee Tucker statements. Now, I'm slipping on the chat here just a little bit. There still is one individual that is a big asshat. There's always one of them, Bill. Stick it to Susan. Susan might like that. You got to be careful with that. anyone is welcome to the morning brew. That's right. Make sure you stop by and see Captain Trek when he does the morning brews, if you can. I mean, I know usually I'm not up that early, or usually it's because the wife is sleeping and she has to work in the afternoon, so I try not to wake her up because apparently I get a little loud sometimes when I'm talking on streams. I don't even realize it because I'm half deaf. So comic book, yeah. I'm going to dip the paws into that realm too. I want to do it for fun. I don't want to do it for any kind of agenda or any kind of messaging. I just want to make a little fun book. Teenage Mutant Ninja Guineas. I was actually kicking around the idea, and obviously Ancient One has heard me talk about it a few times since we had that discussion, that I want to have something incorporated where it's called Werepigs. So there was a Lin Minmei action figure that came out in '85. Really? I never seen it. We don't want Tommy to be sleeping on the couch. I do sleep on the couch, though, sometimes. Usually because I've been sitting out here too late on a live stream, and she's already gone to bed grumpy. So I just avoid it.
You don't want to poke the bear, right?
It's not even that. Here's the thing: when she gets into bed, she takes up over half the bed. She turns sideways on the bed, and she takes over like my side. I'm like, it's just not even worth it. I'll just stay on the couch. I'll listen to Guinea Pig squeak. Tommy and the Masters and the Master Pigs of the Universe. Yeah, make sure you smash that like button. Thank you. Always make sure that you let people know that we're going too. I know Darius is probably getting ready to start here shortly, because usually he starts right around 8. I mean, we're going to run a little bit over. I'm sure Darius won't mind. And the minute we end, we'll start sending people over to see Darius. Also, ETEP Wakuin into Place B reviews will be going on at 8:30. If you all want to stop by there, when you do, make sure you use the hashtag Guinea Pig Swarm. Yeah, we want to do something a little bit different than Raid, because we want to be completely unique. We want to be stupidly different than everybody else, because that's just the way we do it. Holy cow. My Machini stream from yesterday had over 50 views. Awesome. Right. Really, Bruce, you should be getting more views for some of the streams you're doing, because you have a lot of fun, especially when you're doing the Dungeons and Dragons stuff and everything, and you do the paint streams. You should be getting more. And Bruce is an awesome supporter for a lot of channels too. So, guys, make sure you at least stop by and see what Bruce is doing, see if you like it. And if you do, subscribe. Go back and check him out. Bruce is an awesome guy. And one of these days, I got to make sure I find some time to be able to stop by Jedi Bill. But unfortunately, a lot of times Jedi Bill is going at the same time that I'm supposed to be somewhere else, or somebody else has got me pulled into a green room wanting to have a discussion about something. It's hard to catch a break. It really is sometimes. But is there any other like toy franchises you want to talk about at some point, Slasher?
There's quite a few toy lines that I like to talk about. Some aren't the most popular.
Well, give the world. What do you got? Yeah, give the world.
Okay, I don't know if you recall this from the 80s, called Guts. They were basically G.I. Joe's meets muscle figures.
Okay. That was the one spelled with a Z, right?
No.
No?
Hang on, let me try to...
for some reason, I thought that one was spelled with a Z.
I'll try to bring up a picture.
Yeah, I know I did one on Muscle Men before.
1986.
I also did one on like an old video on Food Fighters. Army Ants.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Army Ants. Yeah, I remember Army Ants too.
Planet of the Pigs. I got a really good one from oh God, it was Mongo's Big Things. He had sent me this little meme thing he did. It was Pigzilla and Pig Kong, I think it was. Okay.
Does this look familiar at all?
Yes. And well, some reason I thought it was spelled with a Z. You know how they were doing a lot of that in the 80s?
Yeah. Yeah, the letter Z was cool.
Yeah, my brother had a few of them because he had the ninjas and stuff like that.
Yeah, these are the ninjas.
And my brother had that figure right there, the Commando.
Which one? Oh, the Schwarzenegger one?
Yeah, he had that. He still had the comic book with it. He had all the weapons with it. It had all his gear on him still. The only thing he
had
didn't
the
have,
Rambo
I don't
figure.
think he had the he didn't have the blister back.
I had the
Parker,
Rambo figure. I didn't even know they made a Commando figure.
Let me change this setup just a little bit.
That Rambo figure I had was pretty dope too.
Anyone remember that toy franchise that got sued into oblivion for false advertisement? The advertising said you could rip apart the rubbery figure and easily reattach its limbs, but you couldn't.
This sounds vaguely familiar.
It does sound familiar. I just can't think of what it is. One of these days I'm going to be able to catch it again, Bill. I mean, I know back in the day when you guys were going, and that was when Franklin Doom was still around and Mr. CCDV was going. You guys had some of those Insomniac streams, and I used to be able to show up for them back then, but I wasn't quite as busy as I've been recently.
What's up, Random Brad?
The Piganator will come for you. And what's up, Random Brad? Oh, Subhuman 84, what up?
What's up, Subhuman?
How you doing? We're going to be doing the Tick next week, if that's interesting to you, Subhuman. Because I know that there was a character in the Tick called Subhuman. Remember Army Ants? Yeah, I was just talking about that. I found a whole bunch of those, Chris. My brother had a huge collection of them.
I still have some of them floating around my house. Fucking battle beasts.
Yeah,
you remember those, right?
I found a few of those too. They were the ones that was water, fire.
It was
wood.
water, earth, and fire, right? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be water, earth, and fire. Yeah.
Thunder Pigs and the Mystic Sword of the Collective with the Eye of Guinea-Dara. Yeah, there you go. The Tick. Yeah, next week I'm looking at doing the Tick. What else we're going to do right now is going to depend on who's going to stop by, because I want to set up my panels and the people that are coming on. I want them to be able to talk about something that they really, really enjoyed from the past. So this we get a little bit more diverse topics, because I know the things I talk about are usually things that I remember more from the 70s and 80s, and a few things from the 90s, but more 70s and 80s. And sometimes the people on the panel know what I'm talking about, like Slasher usually does. But some of the other people I have on the panel might have no clue. Like Steve Kenobi wants to talk Brave Star one of these times, and that's going to be another one that's going to be set in the future when he has time to be able to stop by. I want to set it up so he can come on and we could talk about Brave Star, because he's mentioned that show a few times, how he used to like it, but going to need to go back over that. Finally, we have enough wrenches. Everybody kick Tommy and we can roll this channel. Impossible. I will nibble the wires underneath all the wrenches. Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light. Yep,
I remember those.
I did a video on that one too.
I never had any of them, but they looked awesome.
Well, remember when I was doing all the toy videos where I was talking toys, and I was doing the request videos?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd ask people to say at the end of the video, like, let me know a toy that you would like me to talk about in a future video. And one of them was
you did one of mine, yeah. I suggested superpowers. You did that one.
Yep. I also had people suggest My Little Pony, Barbie, God, what else was there? So it wasn't just like the typical like boys' toys. I did a few others. And that's one of the reasons I'd like to get the ladies on and talk about some of the stuff they remember. I wonder if one of them will take it back and do Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Well, some of the things that I guess I can talk about are be like a little bit more obscure, like like the one I just showed you, Guts. Do you remember the AWA wrestling figures?
Oh yeah, the ones that they kind of modeled after the early
He-Man,
He-Man
yeah, they were
figures.
very He-Man looking. Yeah. You should try to look up some of those on eBay. See what the fuck people are charging for those. Jesus.
I did find like one or
The
two
Road
of them.
Warriors, right? You said you had the Road Warriors.
I think it was the Road Warrior. I'm failing to remember exactly which ones I found of his, but yeah, my brother had them. 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Awesome. So yeah, so most of what I'd be talking about, you should remember almost all of it, Subhuman. And or that's exactly why I do them, to bring back those memories of what we loved. Because there's nothing better than sitting there and remember them old franchises from years past that we love so much that maybe aren't around anymore. Or maybe some of the ones that are around, but they're not being done the way we remembered them.
What was the other one that was kind of like Visionaries? Was it Supernaturals?
Yeah, Supernaturals.
Yeah, it was the same shit with the hologram on it.
Yes. Yeah. Supernaturals was actually, my brother had a few of those too. They were these little plastic blocks. They weren't even hardly posable at all, except for I think it was the arms. And they usually came with a cloak.
They had the little ghost guys with the robes, and then they had the taller guys that were supposed to be like the warriors.
Yep.
I had one of the little ghost guys and one of the tall guys.
Yeah, Chris, the thumb wrestlers. Yeah, I found. Oh God, which ones was it? It was Hogan, and it was Nikolai Volkov.
I think I only had like one because it was two, right? They always came in sets of two.
Yeah, they came in sets of two. I thought we had a Roddy Piper one at one time too, but the only two I found was Hogan and Volkov. Did Mask do a toy line? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I actually found two, and well, in my quest to actually get parts for my Transformers that I was repairing, I come across all these different lots of parts parts for these figures, and one of the lots actually had two of the original Mask figures. Had Miles Mayhem and God, what was the other guy? Something Firestar or something. But they both had both of their masks and everything like that. Obviously, they weren't with their vehicles, but I think I wound up selling them on eBay, and I got like $30 for those two little figures. And those things were tiny. They were like maybe an inch and a half tall, if even.
Yeah, they were pretty freaking small. Yeah.
Yep, the Supernaturals. Remember Laser Light Black Star figures? Yeah, I remember them. I remember because the Black Star figures had those. They had the one guy had that really weird looking sword.
I remember the Black Star figures, but what's this Laser Light thing? What was
it? It was a light that they had on some of the figures.
That you flick like a lighter?
No, it was just like a light, like almost like a beam, kind of like a like the Thundercats had the light up eyes. They were doing a lot of that stuff in the 80s. If it wasn't action stuff, it was the light up stuff.
Crystar figures, I remember those. Like I said, I have two of them somewhere here.
Bruce Lombardo, I love the Visionaries idea, but I never collect them at age 8. Mom said it was too much like D&D, so I couldn't get it. Yeah, and that was a big thing in the 80s too. Mother's like, yeah, D&D is going to lead to Satanism. Crash Test Dummies, action figures, yes.
I remember
Subhuman. Those. There's another one. I found my brother had the car set. With the car that you'd smash up into the wall and it would like crumple the front would crumple up because it was like a rubber or something like that in the front. and it would crumple up and the doors would pop open. And I think the windshield would pop off or something.
Yeah,
I found that.
the figures had the button that you press and they explode.
Yeah.
Those were cool figures. I never had any of them.
Now, that one, I don't know. Ulysses 31?
I know of the cartoon. I'm not too familiar with it, but I've heard of the cartoon.
No, it wasn't Matt Tracker. It was somebody else. Something like Fire Light or Fire or something. I'm pretty sure it was Fire in the name.
Oh, right.
He had like a grayish and red outfit. Like it was gray with like a reddish highlights or something.
Bruce Lombardo brings up Captain Power. Holy shit, Captain Power. Talk about a scam. I mean, the idea of it was cool, but like, okay, so they had the thing where you could watch the TV show and interact with the TV show with the ship you're using. I don't know. That seemed kind of like overkill for your marketing. Like, does this seem kind of like shady that you're like saying, hey, watch this cartoon and buy our $30 toys, $30 a pop, so you can enjoy the show more? I don't know.
Yeah, so you could shoot off that big, giant, round piece of glass and put that laser beam right back in your eyes.
Yeah.
Mobile Armored Strike Command mask. That show's theme, Illusion is the Ultimate Weapon, made it to the top of the German Billboard music charts. Yeah. Steve Canopi swears to this day that Mask had the best opening cartoon theme.
It's up there.
All of them in the 80s.
It's up there.
Ulysses was actually like 1970s. Huh. There was a piece of flint on the back of the Laser Light Black Star figures, and you'd flick them to produce a spark in the transparent.
Oh, okay.
The Satanic Panic is why I have 2 rooms full of miniatures and stuff. Thanks, Obama. Satan. '80s. Crossbows and catapults. Yeah, I remember that game. They did a revamp of that not too long ago. It wasn't as good as the original. May I please ask for those who pray, please say a prayer for my good friend and his father who is in the ICU tonight. Yes. I actually mentioned it earlier in one of the chats that I knew would care. But yeah, LDG is having some issues with his father in the hospital. So if everybody could send at least some good thoughts and wishes to him, hope for the best for him. Because, I mean, I already went through that last year and it sucks. And it's no fun to go through. The only difference is, you know, I will say, you know, at least he gets to spend time with his father. Before, I didn't even get that. So I hadn't seen my father in a year because he was living in Jersey and I'm living in Florida, and he just didn't want to make the trip again. And I just, at the time, I was having a hard time with money to be able to make a trip up there to see him. It was just a mess. But I mean, I hope everything turns out well and, you know, he gets more time with his father.
Yeah.
You just don't know until they're gone or they're going, you know, you never realize and you never appreciate it until that point. Captain Power and the soldiers of the future. Power on. The ships would explode if you shined a flashlight on them.
I mean, the idea was cool. It was just a little bit too much. Those ships weren't cheap when you would see them on the friggin' shelves. Those ships were not cheap.
Bruce Lombardo, Captain Power had cool toys that could interact with TV show and VHS tapes. It actually had the best sci-fi show of the 1980s, which was not aimed at kids. Spoiler, Jennifer Chase dies. Jason the Wheeled Warriors theme song was the best banger of the 1980s. Uh-oh. Well, Bruce, you get into that with Steeg. He's a Viking. I don't know if you want to get into that fight with a Viking.
I don't know if I remember the theme. I don't know if I remember the theme for Jason the Wheeled Warriors.
I vaguely recall it. It wasn't one of those shows I really watched much. I do recall it. I remember the oddball vehicles that they had for it, but yeah.
Plus, I remember the the toys were just called Wheeled Warriors. They weren't Jace and the Wheeled Warriors.
Right, yeah, that was the cartoon. No, it's LDG, Bruce. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, RR.
Yeah, man. Well wishes to him and his dad. Man.
Thank you, Darius.
I know what it's like
Bruce.
to lose a dad.
Yeah, it's no fun when you go through it.
Nope.
Son of a red shirt.
Although I
Pretty
was,
solid intro.
well, I was what, 21 when my dad died. So that's freaking 20 years ago. 21 years ago, actually. My bad.
Yeah, the only thing I could say that I don't regret is that when my father did come up to visit me the first time he ever came to Florida to visit me after I'd moved away, like, for like 9 years, I got to do a lot of things and take him places that he really enjoyed. Like the cruise ship that I took on. I did a small video on my channel and still got a thumbs down for it because somebody was hating just to hate, and I loved it. Screw you. But yeah, I took him out. It was like a little pirate ship that they did up, and it happened to be the first time they ever did it. And they only do these like dress ups of this ship like once or twice a month. So it was not coming back for a long time. I just happened to catch it when they were doing Harry Potter on the cruise ship. And my dad was a huge Harry Potter fan. So that was just an automatic plus right there to begin with. But then I found out afterwards when I was talking to my wife, and he said, "Oh, he never told you that, did he?" I said, "Tell me what." One of his things that he wanted to do is he always wanted to take a boat ride into the Gulf of Mexico. And that's where the damn pirate cruise went. That was the Harry Potter theme. It went into the Gulf of Mexico. So I killed two birds with one stone and didn't even realize it. It was kind of wonky. And Chris says
I remember
Zone was pretty cool too.
I had one of the Spiral Zone figures. But wait, wasn't Decompose in Humanoids? I thought Decompose was from Inhumanoids.
See, that's another one I'm not overly familiar with. I might have seen it once or twice, but
well, what I mostly know about Inhumanoids is the giant figures they had. They had these awesome giant monster figures, and one of them was a ribcage monster. Like you open up his chest and put them in there. Yeah, see, Darius lost his dad not too long ago too.
It sucks. It does suck.
Yep.
I mean, especially if you're not prepared for it. I mean, not to say that you could ever really truly prepare for it, but
the 3 days that my dad was in the hospital, I remember it like it was friggin' yesterday, and it was the year 2000. I remember it like it was like yesterday. It's insane.
Battle of the Planets. Well, what was that other one? Captain Planet?
That always seems to get brought up. Battle of the Planets always seems to get brought up. That's the one where they had the bird costumes, right?
Yeah. I hated that other one, though. I hated Captain Planet.
Yeah, I could hated that never get into that shit either.
I hated that with a passion.
I could never get into it.
No, it was definitely not something I was into.
Because that was the beginning of the whole fucking save the environment craze in the 90s, right? It was around that same time. They started Earth Day.
Yeah. Yep, right there. Bird costume guys. Yeah, it sucks, man. It does suck.
No, there is no age to get over it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like every once in a while, I still think, like I wonder what happened since I was so far away and I didn't know what was going on with my father. I always wonder, did he just hopefully just have a massive heart attack and just drop dead and that was it? Or did he sit on the floor suffering for a while? I think about those things every once in a while. Ugh. Awesome. I'm sure that
All
is
right,
much appreciated, Bruce.
I'm not gonna say my dad was any help to himself with his habits, but my dad didn't know what moderation was.
A lot of people didn't back then. I've heard of Inhumanoids. It was before my time, but I know of them because my cousin is 7 years older than I am.
They had the big monster figures were the best thing. That those things were fucking awesome.
All right, Ancient One. The Centaurians were pretty good action figures.
Yeah, I remember those
Captain
too.
Planet is it was all about like agenda shit with Captain Planet. It was like an early version of what we're kind of seeing now with some of these shit heels. As a kid, I was a big fan of G-Force, which was shown throughout the country as Battle of the Planets. It was in my 30s before I learned his real name was Gatchman. Things you learn.
You know, I want to bring up one of the coolest.
That was Star
humanoid figures.
Blazers. The Yamato. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. The Yamato.
I'm sure you've seen this guy.
Oh, okay.
Tendril. Yeah, he had that thing on top of his head where you shine the light and the front, his mandibles glow and shit.
Yeah. That was something that a lot of other toy lines wound up incorporating later on. Like the Transformers lines, like the more modern ones, started incorporating that a lot.
Okay. Here's Decompose. This is the guy he was talking about, Decompose. He's got a Swamp Thing figure in there.
Oh, you know what? We used to have that figure. Me and my brother both had that figure at one point. Hey, Captain Planet had
Decompose? Yeah, he did have a mullet. He had a green mullet. You say you had this guy, Decompose?
No, the Swamp Thing figure. I specifically remember that figure.
Yeah, I have one of those Swamp Thing figures. Not this one.
I also remember they had the green one that was glow in the dark.
Yep. They had one that like snaps apart and you put them back together.
Chris also says
those figures were pretty cool.
Chris says he had Max Rage and Ace McCloud. Save the whale, save those snails. Yeah, Captain Planet was a beta test for the global warming agenda. You know, here's actually something really funny. The whole global warming shit actually started a lot sooner than that. If you go back to one of the older like Godzilla, like the kaiju type movies, go back to the original. Excuse me, the original Rodan. The original Rodan that came out, and what was that? That was in what was that, in the 50s, or was that 50s or 60s that came out?
60s?
The original Rodan?
I think it was 60s.
Yeah, they were talking about the global agenda, like global warming back then, because they make mention of it in the damn Rodan movie. I'd forgotten all about it, and I was just going back, like watching some of the old, Godzilla themed type movies, and I saw the Rodan one, and I seen it mentioned there. I was like, really? Really? Because it was right in the beginning of the damn show.
Tommy, did you see this? Because I've seen this before. Don Cheadle as Captain Planet. Did you see these videos on YouTube?
No, I didn't.
It's actually Don Cheadle with like this shiny face paint and the green mullet. Oh, it's fucking hilarious.
And that's one of the things too, Bruce, and that's why I like talking about the old stuff. Not only does it remind us of our childhood and the franchises we love, but sometimes it also reminds us of people that were around us at the time that maybe are no longer with us. Because And I know some people, well, that's ridiculous. You're holding a memory because of them, because of a toy or a franchise. Well, you know what? Sometimes those people were involved with that shit. Like I know my mother, like she had bought me my very first Transformer, and is that like the only memory I have of her? No, but it's one of those memories I have of her that I remember.
It's called sentimental value.
Exactly. And
People
a lot
seem
of
to
those
be
people
lacking that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though. Like a lot of those haters, they just don't care. They have no love in their life. They have nothing that they're passionate about. So they want to come down on people that maybe have those memories. Well, screw you. Yeah, the guy scratched you with his claw and turned you into a monster. That decomposing figure scared so many parents from buying it. Third Captain Harlock. That was another show I never watched. I never really watched.
I never saw the Fist of the North Star show, but
my brother used to watch that one.
The movie was fucking awesome. And no, not the live action movie, because there was a shitty live action movie.
Yeah, we didn't get all of those shows. A few of them. Like I remember Fist of the North Star, and I do remember a Harlock series, but the other ones don't even sound familiar.
I don't remember them playing the show over here. The Fist of the North Star show. I don't remember them playing it over here.
1956.
I think that's what you said when Rodan came out.
Oh, my uncle bought me a
GoBot model. 60s.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, that's a shame, Bruce. They used to make some really good models back then. Like those models look better than actual GoBots did, even like the Super GoBots. Yeah, global freezing and warming since the beginning of the 20th century. Yeah. And then, Captain Planet was to try to brainwash kids. Yep. And that's why you got some of those idiots that are in office right now, because they probably grew up watching Captain Planet. And they had that shit everywhere, too. They had it in restaurants and everything. I could see a young AOC watching Captain Planet.
What was his tagline? He had a catchphrase. Oh, what the hell was his catchphrase?
Oh God, I don't remember because I didn't really watch it.
Was it "The power is yours," or am I mistaking that with someone else?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody might remember something like terrible like that.
You know what it basically was? All right, it was the fucking. I remember the stupid ass Mr. T cartoon.
Oh yeah, Mr. T and Friends.
Yeah, Mr. T hanging out with a bunch of little kids.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. Captain Planet hanging out with a bunch of little kids. Like, I don't know. Weird.
Why doesn't that surprise me, Bruce? When I was in middle school science, our idiot mullet-wearing lesbian science teacher, and I'm sure she is captain of her softball team and bowling team, told us 20 more years of fossil fuels tops. Yeah, well, you remember, like, many years ago, they were saying that, what did they say? Like, we only have 11 years tops.
Uh-huh. And then they keep adding another 20.
Yeah, because they said that, like, at least, like, a good 12 years ago or better. In 11 years, the planet's going to be underwater. Welcome back, Ancient One. By your powers combined, I am Propaganda Man, and the power is yours. You can save the planet by eating bugs. Oh, the Mr. T cereal. Yeah, and that was another one
I like the Mr. T cereal.
I found the original Mr. T figure. Remember that big, like 12-inch tall Mr. T figure? He came in like the BA, almost like the BA Baracus, like coveralls. And
no,
he had the earrings. And
I had two 18 figures that were kind of He-Man size.
Oh, I do remember those ones too, the smaller ones. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
my
they were
brother
kind
might
of
have had them
He-Man
too.
size. I had BA and I had Murdoch. I'm pretty sure they made the van too. There's no way they could have made the figures and not make the van.
Kids would scream, "Go Planet!"
I could never get into the Mr. T cartoon. As much as a fan as I was of Mr. T, the little kids ruined it for me. Him hanging out with the little kids ruined it for me.
Yeah, Bruce also says 11 or 20 more years of oil's tops. And I worked in fracking, and we could get casing to withstand temperatures 5 miles down. We can cap a well when it's dry, and in 5 years, it is full again. That communist started Captain Planet. You know, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah,
The
there was an
power
18
is
van.
yours.
Yeah, Bruce says there was an 18 van. See, I don't recall finding an 18 van and all this stuff I found over there, but I found a lot of, like, I found the Knight Rider car. I found the Michael Knight figure, which was like a 6-inch tall figure. My brother had that. Yeah. Oh, that was another thing I found at a Mr. T from the Mr. T show. They had a kite.
A Mr. T kite?
Yeah. I found it, and it was sealed in the package. It was a fucking Mr. T kite. And I was like, really? Yeah, they were going to melt by 2008. It's all horseshit. I don't know what's going on. I will tell you this much. I know for a fact, because I check my electric bills and I always compare them to the year before. Our average temperature down in Florida has been cooler this year. Just saying.
People that don't use 1-800-COLLECT make me mad.
I'll tell you what. I pity the fool that don't use 1-800-COLLECT. Ted Warner, you were right. Had the 18 van, huh? Ertl? That makes sense. Ertl did make a whole lot of those different vehicles, and that included, like, they were doing the die-cast miniatures. As a matter of fact, some of the earliest Dukes of Hazzard miniatures were being made by Ertl. And they wound up making Batman when they did the movie.
Yeah, I had a mini, it's like a micro machine sized Batmobile from Ertl.
Yeah, they were actually pretty decent, though. They were obviously a lot sturdier than the Micro Machines ones that were all plastic. I pity the fool who doesn't eat my cereal.
He's back doing commercials, though. Did you see? He's back doing commercials now, Mr. T.
Is he?
Yeah, there's these fucking, I think it's Tide. There's this Tide commercial. No joke. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin and Ice-T sitting there, like, answering phones. I didn't write the commercial, by the way. And then for some reason they cut to Mr. T, and then Mr. T starts yelling at the camera.
Brandon Brad Crater also says Leonardo DiCaprio to turn Captain Planet into a movie. 2016. Laughing out loud. Thank F that didn't go through. Kids, drink your milk. Drink your kids and take your milk. Miss T.
Drink your school, stay in drugs, and don't do milk.
Stay in drugs. Take them drugs. Take them where you go.
So, all right, was Leonardo DiCaprio really going to do a Captain Planet movie? Because that seems very beneath Leonardo DiCaprio.
You never know.
But he don't do, like, goofball kids shit. He does everything he does seems to be on the serious side.
He's done a few goofy things. I mean, I don't know. You just never know. It's been cooler than the last 2 decades. Yeah, it seems like we're going into that cycle again. The only cereal I like is Captain Crunch or Reese's Puffs. I used to love Cookie Crisp. Cookie Crisp.
Yeah, Cookie Crisp, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I tell you what, as adventurous as I am with sometimes trying some of these things, I don't need a whole lot of the cereal stuff anymore, just for obvious reasons of having problems with like my weight or diabetes or anything like that. I don't want to blow up like a freaking balloon again. But I was seriously tempted to try that nasty looking Twinkie cereal.
Twinkie cereal?
Yes.
Can't say I've seen it.
I seen it and I pointed it out to the wife and she was like, what the actual I was like, yeah. Most fucked up about
insane.
that show was they used to drug Mr. T because he wouldn't fly.
Oh, yeah. Are you getting no pain, Hannibal?
It is serious to him. Here's a link to Leonardo Captain Planet. There you go, Slasher.
Jesus. I don't think I need to look at that. His agent was probably like, fuck no.
I wonder if Darius is starting his stream tonight. I know he took, was it last week that he took off or the week before?
I think it was the week before. Well, I didn't see any notifications that he's on yet, but I think he said in the group chat that he's going to be a little late.
Prepare them for warfare. Yes. Well, the pigs. That's the thing, Ancient One. Pigs are always prepared for warfare. That's why
now I'm gonna have
Max.
Now I'm gonna have the fucking Captain Planet theme song haunting me for the rest of the week.
I'm so glad I don't remember
all this Captain Planet talk. Captain Planet, he's our hero.
No. All I hear is Star Blazers. Oh, it was the week before. It was definitely okay. Yeah, terrible. I don't remember that off the top of my head.
What's worse, him in the Captain Planet suit or Nicolas Cage in the plastic Superman suit with the mullet?
Oh, God.
You've never seen that, Tommy?
No.
Oh, you should check that out. They did a whole documentary about it. They wasted $180 million something on a Superman movie that they never made. And it was going to be Nicolas Cage as Superman. Sounds great, right?
Yeah, I mean, I heard somebody talk about it. I've never seen anything related to it because it just didn't even sound like it would be remotely enjoyable.
No, well, the documentary on it is worth watching, though. Okay, now you're gonna have me bring up Nicolas Cage as Superman. Remember, you guys asked for this.
Tim Burton Superman, huh?
Yeah, they had a lot of Tim Burton, Kevin Smith.
Released the Nick Cage cut. Jesus, awesome. Hey, you don't believe me about full plate armor for guinea pigs? Here's the link.
Okay, here he is. There he is in all his glory. Doesn't this look like it looks like Nicolas Cage is at like a costume party or something, right? They actually wanted to put this in the theater.
Well, in case you didn't know, I'm Nick Cage and I'm Superman. I also do meth on the weekends. Please don't sing that.
Yep. Jesus Christ. What were they thinking? What the fuck were they thinking?
Not a whole lot, apparently.
Look, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. He's like, could I go?
I'm Nicolas Cage, and meth is a hell of a drug.
Oh my god, that shit is awful. They wasted $180 something million on a movie they didn't make.
Nuclear Man would be scared. I'm sure everybody that's in the chat is frightened after seeing that. But I think we're going to end it here because Darius said he's probably going to get started soon. I'm trying not to run over people, but Slasher, of course, if you want to come back next week and you want to talk about one of those topics, man,
Sure.
That would be spectacular.
Sure, if I'm coherent at the time.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll call you like a couple hours beforehand. Let you know. But of course, I want to thank everybody that's come by in the chat. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for stopping by. Chris Fisk, Awesome One, I'm Not Creative, Random Brad, Bruce Lombardo, RR, Ancient One, Captain Trek, Luffy is God. God, who am I missing? I'm missing
Son of a Red Shirt.
A couple of Son of a Red
Bruce
Shirt.
Lombardo, RR, Ancient One, Chris Fisk, Tina Bohan.
Oh, Miss Martin Muses was bio. Tina Bojan was here earlier. Random Brad Creator. Bone. Can't forget about Bone.
JJ was here before.
JJ was here. Wookie had stopped through at one point.
Darius,
of course.
Random Brad.
Start Jedi Bill,
Captain Truck.
Thank you all for coming in. Everybody else I didn't mention, Subhuman 84, Longbox 84, Longbox Diving rather, who I haven't seen in a long time. Stop by. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much for always making these streams so much fun. You guys are awesome. Really do appreciate it every time. And if there is another, I always stress this, if there is a toy line that you want to see us talk about, or if there's a cartoon or something from the past you want to hear us talk about when we're doing one of these shows, just hit up this live stream afterwards. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Just leave a comment saying what you want to watch. It's all good. But if you decide you want to stay for the 2 minutes, we do get credit for a whole view. So thank you so much for coming. And of course, Slasher, let them know what you're going to be doing and where they can find you and what you got going
on. Coming back on Wednesday. We're gonna watch a shitty movie, and then when the shitty movie's over, we're gonna go live and give our thoughts on said shitty movie, Miami Connection.
Awesome. I'm sure JJ is going to be chomping at the bit because he's probably going to be missing out on it.
JJ's going to lock himself in his basement friggin' to make sure that he's nowhere near this movie.
With his hands over his ears, just screaming, Senator! Senator! Make sure to stop by and see Slasher when he does the movie reviews and he has some awesome talks. Make sure to stop by and check out some of the other stuff he's got on his channel. Also, be sure to stop by and see Darius Munchausen, or if you prefer, go see Etep Wakuin in the Place B reviews. Both of them should be just about up and running. I know Etep should be already running by now. Make sure you drop the hashtag Guinea Pig Swarm. And we will catch you next time, and we're going to take you out the same way we brought you in until I get off my lazy ass and create an actual outro for the channel. Take care, y'all. Remember, never let anybody tell you what you can and can't say, what you should or should not watch, because your silence gives consent.
Peace out, folks.